snowy McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where the league-leading Stampeders and the visiting Saskatchewan Roughriders will solve the other half of the playoff equation in the West. Who goes on to meet the BC Lions next weekend in the West Division Final? Good afternoon, I'm Mark Lee, and welcome to the CFL on CBC. Well, the Stampeders, despite all their records and all their accolades, are out for vindication this afternoon. Vindication for a playoff loss to Edmonton 1 year ago. Doug Flutie has been bothered by incessant newspaper reports that his team can't win in bad weather, that it's a fair weather football team. He says he'll prove the critics wrong this playoff time. This game is a matching of the minds of two of the CFL's premier coaches. Wally Buono, no coach has won more games in the 90s than him, 65 and counting, 5 straight winning seasons. The Stamps lost 3 games this year, one of those to the Saskatchewan Roughriders at the beginning of the season, and Saskatchewan head coach Ray Yock is part of the old guard in the coaching fraternity in the CFL. He is number 2 in playoff seasons with 10, ranked behind the legendary Frank Clare of Ottawa and Toronto. Ray Yock's done a great job putting this football team together when the cupboard appeared bare at the start of this season, but the order is tall today. The Roughriders installed as 14.5-point underdogs. For their thoughts on this game, let's go to the booth now and join Chris and Danny.
Thanks, Mark. Good afternoon, everybody. That snow last night in Calgary revived some bad memories and kept the Stampeders for 51 weeks have been waiting to exercise the demons.
Chris, let's just get it straight right here. Let's put that newspaper exactly where it belongs, in the bottom of the bird cage. That's last year's news. It has no bearing on today. This is a team that comes into this season to begin with from the training camp with one thing in mind. Not getting to the Grey Cup, but winning the Grey Cup. And this general right here is going to be able to lead them, Doug Flutie.
He's had a great year, another CFL record-setting year, 48 touchdown passes and the highest scoring offense in history. Remember last year, he didn't have Alan Pitts in the Western Final.
He comes in here today with leading with all of his tools, and this is one of the biggest one, a record-breaking season for Alan Pitts, and he also has something to prove that he wants to be here today, and he's going to aid and help in the win for the Calgary Stampeders.
For an upset to happen, you probably need a veteran quarterback. Tommy Burgess has been to the Grey Cup a couple of times.
This is a guy that can get the job done. He's taken a while to get used to the system in Saskatchewan, but he and Ray Yock are hitting on the same page today.
The one factor he has for him that Wally Buono fears the most, Mike Saunders.
Well, this is a big factor, too, and it should be feared because this guy is a talent. He is a good pass receiver out of the backfield. He can carry the mail, and he's exceptionally well at blocking for Tommy Burgess.
Remember 89, the Roughriders upset the 16-2 Eskimos. Mark?
Chris, there's Winnipeg Stadium, where the Blue Bombers are prohibitive favorites over the Ottawa Roughriders in today's Eastern semifinal. We'll update the score and have highlights as the afternoon progresses. It's damp in Winnipeg, the same system that dumped 14 centimeters of snow on Calgary overnight, but the weather has broken here. It's 3 degrees, barely a breeze, and the skies are clear. It's the Western Division semifinal, the Stampeders versus the Saskatchewan Roughriders. We'll have the kickoff when we come back to sunny McMahon Stadium in Calgary.
Stampeders, number 17, Marvin Coleman.
Crystal clear Calgary afternoon as the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Calgary Stampeders show down for the right to face the BC Lions next week. Ray Yock says the season-opening win over Calgary set the tone for the entire season. It was a good one for Saskatchewan at 11-7. Wally Buono's Stamps avenged that loss with a lopsided 54-15 win on August the 19th. And we're underway as Paul McCallum kicks it deep, and Marvin Coleman has it at his 15. And the speedy rookie is out at midfield and just tripped up across the 50-yard line. Calgary has a habit of playing off short fields, and they will start this game in that situation after a 38-yard return. Here comes Doug Flutie. And Kep, we were in the offices prior to the game. He came in with a big grin on his face and told John Hufnagel, I can run, and he hasn't been able to say that for the past month because of a bad foot.
And that's scary to think because all of a sudden he has tremendous confidence that he's got something back that he thought he had lost for a couple of weeks.
Rushed for over 750 yards during the regular season. First down at the Calgary 54, and he's going to take off on the first play. Scrambling over midfield and stepping out in front of Dale Joseph in Saskatchewan territory.
Gain of about 8 yards on first down.
Man, the mobility of Doug Flutie only makes the task more difficult for Saskatchewan.
Just as we just said, he can run. He's going to test it early and show you right now he's going to want to run the ball. The good thing about this for the Saskatchewan Roughriders is the fact they had good coverage down the field. Nobody was left wide open and forces them to run. If they can do that through the course of this game and say, if the Calgary is going to beat us, they're going to beat us with Doug Flutie having to run the ball, and we just don't think that can happen.
Second and short, and Flutie on the sneak, stopped up initially. That's a tough front seven. In fact, the Saskatchewan Roughriders sacked Doug Flutie more than any other team this year, 4 times in the first game. It is a first down for Flutie, and this high-powered Calgary offense, number 1 in points and yards, number 1 passing, number 4 rushing the football. Rocco Romano, the outstanding offensive lineman, and there's Pitts, Wiggins, Smith, Moore, and Dave Sapunjas will be in as the 5th receiver. And Sapunjas in the game, in motion behind Flutie. First down, they give to Tony Stewart, and he's tripped up at the line and dropped the football. Looks like Calgary got right back on it.
What great penetration that time by Bobby Jurison, who is just having an all-star season.
Well, Bobby Jurison, the great veteran, they go with the 3-4, and that front 3 has been tough with Sean Brantley in the middle. LeBryant Robinson's made a big difference. Ron Getz, their top defensive player. In prime time, Anthony Drawhorn is back in the secondary for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He had arthroscopic knee surgery 2 weeks ago. 2nd and 10. Flutie in the pocket, and he delivers deep. And the ball is incomplete, as Will Moore was the intended receiver against Mr. Drawhorn.
Mr. Primetime, there's 2 of them in the building, Chris Cuthbert and Primetime Anthony Drawhorn, and he does a great job of getting in there. It's 101. It's nothing but foot and grace and speed to be able to get the ball down there, make up some ground, and right at the last minute, come with that right hand, bang, type it away. Excellent job and good coverage on Will Moore.
Tony Martino in on 3rd down to punt. An average 42.6 yards during the regular season. Took a couple of steps before kicking away, and this is Ulmer. Flag down, and Ulmer is dropped on the play. Greg Frere's upfield for the Stampeders, a 5-yard run back, 36-yard Martino punt.
Greg Frere is number 6 with the tackle for the Stampeders.
And the flag will march it even deeper against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The referee is Ken Lazaruk.
Holding, Saskatchewan number 4. Half the distance to the goal line. First down, Saskatchewan.
Well, there's Tommy Burgess in the first game against Calgary, kept 371 yards passing. The second game, though, he was really stopped up. 4 for 11, 47 yards, and Warren Jones had to come in relief.
Well, I think the thing that this Saskatchewan team wants to do right now, put that second game completely out of mind and come in here thinking that they know that this Calgary team is not invincible. We have beat them before, and we can beat them again.
First down, and the give to Saunders. A couple of tough yards up the middle. Marvin Pope, a great linebacker against the run with the initial tackle for the Stampeders. Mike Saunders with 1,205 yards rushing during the regular season. Last time they had a 1,000-yard runner kept was 1989, a magic year in Saskatchewan with Tim McRae.
Chris, I got to say one other thing. The past yesterday and today, for me personally, I'm in heaven. I'm seeing 4 great defensive ball clubs on the field, and there's 2 really solid matchups today.
High snap over Burgess and bouncing into the end zone, and he will be content to give up the safety. It's a safety touch against Saskatchewan as Will Johnson catches Burgess in the end zone. Mike Anderson, the 11-year veteran center, snapped this one over the head of Tom Burgess.
Just a lapse of concentration there by the veteran. Absolutely a poor snap. Burgess did everything he could possibly do just to give up the 2 points, and that's better than having the ball bounce around and have Calgary recover it for a major.
Anderson, the top offensive lineman with the Saskatchewan Roughriders this year. And you know what, Kep? That might not be all bad. because instead of giving up the field position on a punt in 3rd down, now they get to kick off from their 35, so there might be a silver lining for Ray Yock.
Well, I think if you're looking at it that way, there's got to be something positive that's going to come out of this thing. The main thing that they would have liked to see, obviously, was to have that shotgun snap go complete, and then all of a sudden Burgess to be able to make a big play and maybe make a 1st down and keep this drive alive. But if they're gonna, if what happened exactly the same as it did, then right now Saskatchewan did get some advantage, but there's a guy right there that can create instant field position from anywhere on the field once he touches the ball.
So 11 minutes, 36 seconds to go, 1st quarter, and it's 2-0 Calgary. Will Johnson, 17 sacks during the regular season to lead the CFL, and he traps Burgess for 2 points. McCallum squibbing the football, and it's Brian Wiggins this time. Gets a couple of nice blocks, and now a flag is thrown as Wiggins is dropped at the 45-yard line, but this one will be coming back.
Take it back. It's going to be an illegal block, and that may be against Coleman, who we just spoke of.
50 yards on the kick for Paul McCallum.
So the Stampeders strike first in this Western semifinal. Will return to McMahon Stadium. Welcome back to McMahon. 2 of the hottest teams heading into the playoffs. In fact, Saskatchewan was the hottest of the playoff teams, winning its last 4 games. Calgary 3 in a row. Saskatchewan hasn't won here at McMahon Stadium, though, in their last 7 visits.
This is a tough backyard to come in and try to take anything away from these red and white guys.
Who has won here in the last
Not
little while?
many people.
Just the Eskimos in last year's Western final. Otherwise, Calgary has been unblemished at home for a couple of years. After the penalty, it's back at the 21, and there's that hitch screen to Brian Wiggins, who spun away from one. Dave Van Bellingham knocks him down, and the ball will be spotted at the 28-yard line, a pickup of close to 7. Last year, Wiggins with the big game against Saskatchewan with 16 catches.
Quick hit screen here, but what you don't see happens just to the right of your play. Gary Rogers, the outside linebacker, all read that play extremely well and almost picked it off right in the middle of the air. They were very fortunate to complete the pass and pick up about 8 yards.
Wiggins matched up against Donaldson, 2nd down and 3. And Flutie rolling out. There's Dave Sapunjas, chasing him down is Ulmer, throwing him out of bounds, but Dave Sapunjas is back in the Calgary lineup, and that just makes them even tougher.
It's an 11-yard gain and a Stampeder 1st down.
Sapunjas tested that collarbone last week in BC and came out of it with flying colors.
They did an excellent job that time of faking the inside handoff to Tony Stewart. Saskatchewan bit hard really on coming down in, tried to close it out, then he just kept the ball, pulled it out, and Sponge had plenty of time to break to the out pattern, and he's wide open.
1st down at the Calgary 41. Flutie quickly over the middle, incomplete. He was looking for Wiggins, and Albert Brown supplied coverage. 8-year veteran, part of that 89 team. In fact, still 10 players left on the Green Riders from that Grey Cup team.
Doug plays that play action pass again, doesn't do a very good fake to the inside, so it doesn't really fool any of those guys in the back end. And Albert Brown does an excellent job of closing in on the ball. The fans are yelling and screaming out here. They want a pass interference call. Good defensive play by AB.
7 DBs in for Saskatchewan on 2nd and 10. And Flutie draws them offside. Good matchup today. Top passing team in the country against the number 3 passing defense.
Offside, Saskatchewan number 97, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Well, there is no 97. There's a 96 and a 98. And a 79.
Well, if you jumble them around a little bit, we can come up with a 97 out of 4 or 5 different guys. But Doug Flutie stands in that shotgun position. He gives it that stutter count, that hut, hut, trying to draw them off. They're standing up, lining up right in front of the ball. Play the ball.
So it's 2nd and 5. Flutie throwing back against the grain, but over the head of the intended receiver, the fullback, Sean Daniels, bringing up 3rd down.
3rd down and 5.
Very uncharacteristic for Doug Flutie. That's a wide open Sean Daniels running on a sneak pattern, and he just makes a bad throw. They complete that pass, and Sean Daniels is still running to the end zone.
5.5 minutes gone. First quarter. And Martino back in for his second punt. Stampeders with a 2-0 lead. Martino rushed, and this is Saunders. Gets through the initial wave, and now game tackled by the likes of Ray Biggs, who led the Stamps on specialty teams this year. Gerald Vaughn was there as well, and feelings a little heated up early here. Tell you what, Kep, and I know you talked to a lot of the Roughriders. They were extremely loose going into the game.
Well, I think loose in a sense, but also they were just very confident. There's not anything cocky about them. They knew what their task is going to be today, and it's a big task. It's a big obstacle to overcome, to come down here to Calgary to try to beat these guys here. But they felt very comfortable in a sense that the game plan that they have, and of each one's ability, and they're coming in here as a game.
Dangerously loose.
Those are the scary kind of teams to play, because they can do anything. They're probably supposed to lose, so why can't they show it all?
There's Burgess rolling to his right and looking downfield for Larry Thompson, and it falls incomplete. Kenton Leonard was there.
Larry Thompson. It is incomplete.
Larry Thompson in the lineup instead of Elbert Turner, and that has been a much talked about point of contention this week. Thompson, one of the top receivers for Saskatchewan, but when he went out with a broken hand, Elbert Turner came in and caught 5 touchdown passes. Of course, Narcisse and Elgard, the great veterans, Saunders and Boyko in the backfield.
And they had both of those guys in the lineup last week against Hamilton, and this was a case when Coach Jacques said, I want to see who's going to win the starting spot next week, and obviously Larry Thompson won it.
2nd and 10 over the middle. Open receiver was Saunders, but it falls incomplete. Saunders was rested last week, but with his return to the lineup, they had to drop one of the imports, and it was Elbert Turner. And there's an injured Calgary Stampeder, and that's Big Daddy Marvin Pope, who is slow to get up.
Just to get you this news yesterday, the Edmonton Eskimos lost.
Well, Marvin Pope has been such a huge part of this Calgary defense. I'm not sure if he's just cramping here, Kep, but
it's kind of early to think of a cramp right now. Your body really hasn't had enough time to work up enough energy or sweat out enough fluids out of you that it would be cramping up. But when we can take a look, they're working on the toe and trying to pull it back up a little bit. Normally, that's a process that you take to try help stretch out the calf muscle. Big Daddy's up moving around, so maybe it was just a very temporary thing. Hopefully for Big Daddy and also for the Calgary defense, because this guy is the nucleus of this defense when he's in the middle.
And a defense that led in 12 CFL categories during the year. Talk so much about Flutie in the offense, and often you overlook this Calgary defense. Here's a former Stampeder, Brent Matich, into the game for his first punt. Was 5th in the CFL, 41.7 yards and a net of 35.6.
Number 13,
and Saskatchewan has to be wary because Calgary has those dangerous returners, Pee-wee Smith and Marvin Coleman.
17 back around their own 40.
And Coleman had a 77-yard kickoff return for a touchdown against Saskatchewan this year. Ball on the ground, and Smith will take it. And Pee-wee Smith lunging to the 48-yard line. And again, Doug Flutie in the offense will have great field position when we return.
Brought down by number 65.
At the Eastern semifinal in Winnipeg, the Blue Bombers strike early in the first quarter. Dunnigan looking deep, finds Alfred Jackson in behind Emmanuel Martin for the touchdown. It covers 36 yards. Bombers up 7-0 in the first quarter.
In the Eastern semifinal in the first quarter.
Well, it feels like Christmas here in southern Alberta. Santa on hand and a gorgeous snowfall overnight But the field fast and dry as Tony Stewart tries to get outside, and there is Bobby Jurison and a gang tackling Saskatchewan defense led by the great 9-year veteran out of Northern Michigan.
Take a look right now at Bobby Jurison. Right here, he's going to stand. He's going to watch it, but it's going to be the inside trap play coming down. Now watch how Jurison keeps his outside arm and leg free, takes on the block, fends off everybody, slides down the line of scrimmage, closes Tony Stewart out, and makes the play for this very solid Saskatchewan defense.
Partners in our community.
Now Jurison playing in his 7th playoff game. He has 5 sacks in the postseason and another terrific year. He's the all-time leading sack man with the Riders.
We had a good chance to visit with him as we was coming out the tunnel, Chris, and I talked to him about the game last week when actually Reggie Slack ran through a sack attempt that he made. He said, Kev, he said, I can't get too many sacks. If I pad my stats way too much, he said, Saskatchewan won't be able to afford me. He said, and I want to stay here.
That's LeBryant Robinson, who is slow to get up. This is a tough defense, though. Jurison, Robinson, Gary Lewis, a 10-year veteran. Dan Rashovich has been in the league 11 years. Glenn Suter, the 11-year veteran safety. And Jim Daly is the architect of this defense.
It's one of those calls from the sidelines from Coach Daly that Jurison understand. If you don't make the play, I'm going to wring your neck. I'll wring it. Okay, you got this? Yeah.
Well, Jim sitting in signals now. It's a 2nd down and 12, a loss of 2.
12 Stampeders at their own 45.
As Tony Stewart was dropped behind the line of scrimmage.
Play deep, take away the pass, and make Doug Flutie have to run this ball.
Here comes the rush. And they've got Flutie. Ball's loose. Saskatchewan's on it. There is a flag, but Saskatchewan has the football.
Pass is ruled incomplete.
And they're now saying an incomplete pass. Couple of flags down for Ken Lazarick to sort out. Saskatchewan has been hot on defense of late. 10 sacks in the last 3 games, and as mentioned, 5 this season against Calgary.
This is a defense for Saskatchewan that plays as a total unit. There's not any real great superstars out there that you would try to pinpoint.
Ineligible receiver, Calgary number 60, decline. 3rd down.
Saskatchewan, Bobby Jurison and the defense thought they had a fumble recovery. It is instead an incomplete pass. Let's have another look.
Take a look at his speed all over the field. Bobby Jurison gets outside. Gary Lewis is up the middle. He forces it, pushes the pocket. Ron Getz comes. And I think right there that Calgary got away with a call. There's no doubt about it. No way that he's even attempting to throw that ball.
That was a shot put.
3rd and 12 Stampeders at the 45.
So a break for Calgary. And Martino in on 3rd down. Not a great kick. Ulmer from his 29. And Ulmer threw away, but a flag down.
A flag comes down on the return by number 2, Terrell Ulmer.
Well, we didn't see many of the flags yesterday. But so far, it's been a busier first quarter for the officials here at McMahon.
Chris, and I think that illegal block is going to go against Brooks Fenley, number 97.
Legal block, Saskatchewan number 97, 10-yard penalty, 1st down Saskatchewan.
Here's Mark Lee.
Chris, we had 14 centimeters of snow overnight, but work crews were here from the early morning hours shoveling the snow off. You see the snow banks along here, 3, 4, some places 6 feet high. It means you got to have the big sorrels to stay warm. I might say that the conditions are most difficult for those of us here on the sidelines, and if it gets any colder, I may have to bring out the hat.
Hey, Mark, my only point is this. Why is my partner play-by-play? He's got the same boots up here in the booth on.
And you guys have got heaters.
I'm ready for anything, Cap. Here's Mike Saunders picking his way out over the 25 to the 28-yard line. That's a gain of 8 for Saunders. Gerald Vaughn with the tackle.
Close to a 10-yard
no playoff
gain.
year would be complete without Mark Lee's hat.
Good trap play there by Paul Vada. Comes in and opens up the hole. Mike Saunders is excellent at setting up his blocks. He runs with a lot of power, and he's got great vision of the field. You can see his numbers there. 1,205 yards this season, 8 touchdowns.
They mark it at the 29, so it's 2nd and 1, and Burgess will move the yardsticks. Interesting Iowa connection here today, Kep. Saunders and Tony Stewart of Calgary were teammates with Iowa, and of course, a little further back, Ray Yach was a great running back at that school.
Just tremendous talent in both of these teams' backfields as far as being able to carry the mail. And both of these guys not only are good ball carriers, excellent receivers, but they block extremely well. And that's unusual to have 3 of those qualities together.
First down, Saskatchewan. 5:45 to go, first quarter. Ball out in the flat. It's caught by Dan Farthing. And Farthing is out close to the Saskatchewan 50-yard line for another Rough Rider first down, a pickup of 17.
Farthing getting an opportunity to get back in the lineup. Did not play in their final game of the season against Hamilton. Nursing a hamstring injury, but this time he gets tested early. Little bit of a pick play, and Farthing catches the ball, makes a good move out, and then comes back inside and takes the ball right up the field to pick up another big first down for Saskatchewan. This is a possession-type offense.
Out of the shotgun, and they hand it off to Saunders. Rolling off the right side. Mike Saunders into the secondary and finally down. At the Calgary 40, Greg Knox finally tripped him up. But if they can establish this ground game, it's going to make it tough for Calgary. Pick up 20 yards.
Down by Greg Knox, the Stampeders safety, number 8.
Good inside trap play right here. Watch this. This is big Dan Payne going to come along, make the trap. The handoff is going to come here, and then he's going to take it right up the field, folks. Now, you got Dan Payne leading at 6'7", 300 pounds. He's going to make a big hole when he gets into Matt Finley's face. And Mike Saunders, with that power, is able to pick up big yardage.
First down, Saskatchewan with their best drive of the game so far, and a pass behind Saunders out of the backfield. And this is what Wally Buono talked about. Saunders is really the heart of this offense.
Big key for Tommy Burgess is the fact that if it doesn't fit, don't force it right now. There's receivers. Right there is Mike Saunders, the receiver, but you take a look around. Matt Finley's there. There's 2 other Calgary defenders there, and he's trying to drop it into a very small hole. There's some other guys out there. You got to spread it out a little bit more and make this Calgary defense not just focus completely on Mike Saunders.
2-0 Stampeders on a safety touch, but Saskatchewan moving the ball, 2nd and 10. There's Farthing, and oh boy, did he take a lick from Greg Knox. But Farthing, to his credit, hung on.
Greg Knox, arguably the best center in the CFL these days, comes in, and when he comes over the middle, he's going to make you pay. But to his credit, the youngster, Dan Farthing, out of the University of Saskatchewan, makes a terrific catch and holds on after taking a heck of a lick.
Wally Buono says he thinks he's the best safety. Don Southern told us the same thing. Eager to hit and reads the play well. But Farthing hung on, and Saskatchewan moving. First down. Burgess putting it up and overthrowing everybody. Larry Thompson, the intended receiver, but he was in double coverage.
Burgess looks to be a little impatient, like he wants to make something happen quickly, and he wants to go deep. He's having success nickel and diming it and taking what, this very tough Calgary defense is willing to give him. So go ahead and keep doing that. Don't try to take it deep, because he took 3 steps in, aired the ball out, and he was throwing it into double coverage. He was very fortunate that ball wasn't picked off.
Well, that is a topic of debate on beating this Calgary defense. Do you try for the possession drives, or do you try the big play? 2nd and 10, over the middle, Thompson, and oh, he was belted again. Kenton Leonard this time, and the secondary really punishing. Although Leonard a little worse for wear.
Chris, I told you a while ago, I love these last couple of days here when you can see defenses that hit like this. This is the job that they're supposed to do.
Kep, we talked about Albert Turner or Larry Thompson. Ray Yach said Thompson's a little tougher over the middle. And he showed his resilience there.
I think you'd have to bring in a guy like Arnold Schwarzenegger or some really tough guy to be able to catch that one. Because what a shot. You're not going to, there's not too many guys in this league who's going to hold on to that one, getting hit that hard. And this is a guy, Kenton Leonard, when we start talking about it, that you can go into a long thing, the obstacles he's overcome in his career and in his life to come back and play this game at a level that he's playing it at, Chris.
And the latest obstacle was a broken shoulder blade on Labor Day against Edmonton. He's been back for a few weeks and being helped off by Pat Clayton. Good drive for Saskatchewan. The drive ending with a thud there. And now McCallum on. It's been quite a story. Replacing Dave Ridgway. Suter putting it down, and McCallum putting it through. 12-14 on the year, replacing Dave Ridgway, and Saskatchewan has the lead here at McMahon Stadium. Picture postcard day in Calgary after the 14 centimeters of snow that fell last night. It got a little ugly last night, and our trucks didn't get in till 2 in the morning, so our hats off to the technical crew for their setup under adverse conditions, but always a stellar job by them. As Paul McCallum kicks it off, 3-2 Saskatchewan late first quarter. And Marvin Coleman steps it outside and gets up near the 40-yard line. Here's Mark Lee.
Chris, Doug Flutie threw 48 touchdown passes this season for a new CFL record, breaking his old mark last year. But this is an interesting stat in light of his slow start in this Western semifinal. He has but one touchdown pass in 4 playoff games to date.
Well, he was shut out last year in that Western final, much talked about. At the 41, Calgary starts on offense. And Flutie delivers the football incomplete. He was looking for Will Moore, but kept solid defense by Saskatchewan.
What an excellent defensive play this time. Now watch. This is Gary Rogers on the outside. He is in charge of containment on here. Doug Flutie is going to fake the inside handoff. They're not going to bite on any of this. He's going to stay outside shoulder, forces Doug Flutie to have to go back to the inside, and then forces him to have to throw the ball downfield before he really wants to.
Doug's
very disciplined play. Sorry, Chris.
Flutie's missed his last 4. He's 2 for 7, 18 yards. Goes back. And now has one dropped by Alan Pitts and a late flag down. You don't see the record-breaking receiver drop many like that. Penalty is against Calgary for an ineligible receiver.
Ineligible receiver, Calgary number 18, declined. 3rd down.
Well, something in the alignment, because he has been the most eligible receiver all season long.
Well, what happens is sometimes, as these inside slots like to do, they like to get their momentum going toward the line of scrimmage and try to time the snap. They still need to be a yard off the ball if the receiver on the wideout on that side is up on the line of scrimmage. That time, Alan Pitts got caught on the line of scrimmage and made himself ineligible.
Mike Saunders at his 25. Downfield first was Brian Wiggins with Gerald Vaughn. Well, you know, if the Saskatchewan Roughriders are in a playoff game, they will get plenty of support from those loyal Riders, and they are here in good numbers again today.
Check these guys out. Now, I'm going to tell you what. This shows you the kind of faith and loyalty that a couple of, they may be ex-linebackers, I don't know.
I was going to say, they're crazier than you. I take my hat off to Ray Yock for the job he's done this year, but not my shirt on a day like today. First down, Saskatchewan at the 25. Quickly, they get it out to Mike Saunders again, and he is up the sidelines.
Saunders, number 32.
Well, when he shared the backfield with Tony Stewart, he often lined up as a receiver, and there he has a pickup of 15.
They line him up as a wideout, so it forces the linebackers of the Calgary to make some type of adjustment, and then he makes the quick hitch, but he able to get away from Matt Finley and take the ball straight up the field and pick up a first down. If they make these kind of alignments, it's a huge chess game out there to see what kind of defense that Calgary is going to play, and hopefully that will give Tom Burgess a pre-snap read, and he will have a premeditated thought of where he wants to go.
Under a minute to go. First quarter, Saskatchewan up by 1. There's a completion over the middle, and Dan Farthing has been a busy receiver so far for Saskatchewan.
Chris, we were talking about the philosophies on how to attack this Calgary defense. Whether you go deep, whether you go for the home run ball, and a big play team like Edmonton has had some success, or you come back here and you do this kind of stuff. Take exactly what they're going to give them, get Calgary's defense to start biting up on this a little bit, and give yourself a better percentage, an opportunity to take it downtown and into the end zone.
Just short. Well, that was the discussion, because there are some that don't feel you can work the ball up the field on this strong defense, that you need a couple of big plays like Edmonton in the Western Final last year, but Ray Yock wants to do it this way, and it appears to be working here in the first quarter.
That old adage, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. Just stick with it.
Second and 18.
And Saskatchewan with a big edge in offense in this first quarter, and Burgess will move the sticks again.
That's a crucial thing for Saskatchewan coming in here, just from a confidence point of view, that they're not coming in playing catch-up already, you know, giving up some big plays to a very potent Calgary team, both offensively and defensively, but that you're able to be competitive. Now, this is going to be just like a prize fight we talked about yesterday, and this may go the full distance as that game did go yesterday.
So it's first down, Saskatchewan, at their own 53-yard line. Clock running out in this first quarter. Burgess under the gun, and Saunders can't squeeze it on that low delivery from his quarterback. And that is the final play of the first quarter, and a pretty good one for Tom Burgess and company. They're going to give Calgary all they can handle today at McMahon.
Welcome back to wintry Calgary. Here's the latest from Winnipeg. In the second quarter, Terry Baker has kicked a 27-yard field goal for the Roughriders. They get on the scoreboard. It's 11-3, Bombers in front. Early second quarter action in the Eastern semifinal, Chris.
Hard to believe, Mark, that the Ottawa Roughriders have not won a game outside Ontario this year, trying to do it in Manitoba today in that Eastern semi, and Mark will keep you updated with scores and highlights. Here it's 2nd and 10 as we start the second quarter, with Saskatchewan leading the football game 3-2, and Burgess pulling it down, now delivering. Ray Elgard has it go through his outstretched arms. First pass to Elgard this afternoon.
Two very uncharacteristic things. Worst, we see Alan Pitts drop a ball, and this one, a key pattern that Ray Elgard has run consistently through the course of his career, and the ball seems to go straight through his hands. Pump fake by Burgess. Right at the last minute, we're going to see this. It's an over-the-shoulder look, a little bit of a short arm, but he just didn't get the hands up there. And then Greg Fears comes over and, just to make sure, takes a good shot at Ray Elgard.
Number 13, Brent Manage, back near his own 40 in punt formation.
Managed to kick to Smith and Coleman. Line drive. Bouncing it around, and Coleman has it. They do throw a flag, so that'll be a 5-yard no yards call against Saskatchewan. 42-yard punt after the bounce. Stats through 15 minutes, and Saskatchewan has the better numbers.
And the thing that's really good for Saskatchewan in this case is, look at that, the time of possession that they have, but also the net yards overall. The main thing is that time of possession, because that means one thing: they keep Doug Flutie off the field.
That's another benefit of that philosophy of not going for the home run ball. Take what's given. Well, this is the deepest start for Flutie and company. And it's been a slow start, but this is their big quarter. During the regular season, 257 points in the second quarter. Dave Sapunjas breaking a couple of tackles and getting to the 30.
Sapunjas, number 25, makes the catch.
You just got to love a receiver like Dave Sapunjas. He comes in there, and he is physical. He's not the fastest of guys, but he has the sure hands. Coming back after a collarbone injury, and then look at, he's going to step up and keep working and take the shots. And the big thing that Wally Bono said about him in the last game that he played wasn't the fact that he had a big game, but right at the end, before he left the game, he just had a deep pass, and he sailed out, and he got parallel with the ground, came down, hit his helmet, hit the shoulder pads, hit his shoulder, and he just jumped right up. And those are the kind of things, if you're thinking that you're tentative about an injury, you're just not going to do that kind of thing. That does not pertain to number 25, Dave Sapunjas.
Gave the collarbone a full test, and it's 100% now. And he says he's feeling a little fresher than usual heading into the playoffs because of the break.
Had a chance to rest, the new express legs, coming back with some newfound enthusiasm.
1st and 10. Flutie in the flat, going back to Sapunjas, breaks the tackle of Ulmer, and Sapunjas out to the 50-yard line. Tackled from behind by Gary Lewis, the veteran defensive lineman, but it's a 20-yard pickup for Dave Sapunjas.
20 yards for the Sponge to the Stampeder first
You can see him
down.
working those shoulder pads around and kind of moving his shoulders, and it doesn't look whether, hopefully he hasn't re-injured that shoulder at all, but here's the point that once he looks the ball in, good concentration on catching it, but keeps the feet moving, and you really, when you come up as a defensive back, you have to break down and get your arms around him, or this guy will make the first guy miss and pick up additional yardage.
Yep, Sapunjas has gone to the Calgary bench. He started off and then looked like he wanted to stay out, but now has gone to the bench, and Gary Lewis is slow to get up too.
And Pat Clayton, I can see from here, that's him on the left-hand side, the Calgary trainer. Taking a real good look on the inside. You can see the right hand is up underneath the shoulder pad where you can feel the shoulder and probably the collarbone in that area. And at this point, knowing Dave Sapunjas a little bit and the character of man that he is, you know it's got to be painful enough to bring him off to the sideline, particularly in a playoff game.
He stepped back. He wanted to go back to the huddle and then thought, no, I got to get off, and he collapsed at the bench. Lewis off the field under his own power. What a great veteran he is out of Oklahoma State, 33 years of age, 10 years with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And it looks like Dave Sapunjas is headed to the Calgary locker room. Boy, that's a tough sign. 1st and 10. Doug Flutie's got the offense moving at the 50. Hands off to Stewart, straight up the middle, gets near midfield, may have dropped the football.
Goes straight up the middle and gets almost 5 yards to midfield.
And this is the last thing Calgary wanted to see in the first half. Let's join Mark Lee.
Chris just had a word with Dave Sapunjas as he makes his way to the Stampeder locker room. He tells me he thinks he has rebroken his clavicle. Doesn't look good as he goes for further examination.
Well, that's terrible news if that's the case for Sapunjas and the Stampeders. 2nd down and a wide open Alan Pitts, who's down at the 45-yard line of Saskatchewan with the 1st down. Pitts, 126 catches, 2,036 yards, and 21 touchdowns this year.
This has got to be a blown coverage in the Saskatchewan secondary because Pitts comes down about 12, 14 yards, just makes the curl, and he's standing there all by himself. Nobody's around him. But just look at the numbers that he acquired through the course of this season. 126 receptions, broke Terry Greer's all-time yardage record, ending up with 2,036. Also broke the established touchdown record by one, getting 21 touchdowns.
And all after reconstructive knee surgery in '93. We've got an injured rider, so we're going to take a break here at McMahon. 12:08 to go, first half. Well, defense the story again so far this afternoon, as it was in the other Western semi, and an injury of great concern for Calgary. Dave Sapunjas going down again.
Now take a look at this. Now Gary Lewis is the trail guy. He's going to make the tackle. Now all the weight comes down, boom, right on the point and the left shoulder of Dave Sapunjas, and I think there's where, if it is rebroken or if the injury obviously did happen, there's where it occurred.
And that was Vince Danielson, 88, who has replaced Sapunjas for the second time now this season. Tony Stewart dropped at the line of scrimmage. Bobby Jurison continues to have a big afternoon for the Roughriders.
Bobby Jurison leading the charge for Saskatchewan.
Bobby Jurison, he's really found some new life again. They're moving him around, lining him up in different positions. You just cannot get a good blocking angle on him these days with the number of alignments that Jim Daly puts him in.
2nd and 9. Flutie has Pitts. Spins away from one man. Dropped at the 30. Glenn Suter, the safety, with the tackle, but it's a big second down conversion of 16 yards for Alan Pitts.
Wrestle down Pitts.
And the Calgary offense starting to click.
Now take a look how Drawhorn stays outside. He's outside. Now the pass comes, but Drawhorn falls all the way back inside, and that allows Pitts to make the reception, spin outside, and still pick up another 6 or 8 yards.
First down at the 28, and movement before the ball was snapped.
Should be illegal procedure against Calgary.
Legal procedure. Calgary, number 64. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Former Rider Ken Moore moved. Here's Mark.
Chris, the Eastern semifinal in Winnipeg is turning into a kicking battle. Terry Baker has just hoofed a 12-yard field goal to make the score now. Winnipeg 14, Ottawa 6. The Riders who went into the game 15-point underdogs hanging in.
Here's Flutie looking for Will Moore. Stretched out, can't bring it in. Will Moore, who caught 44 during the regular season. Wally Buono says he's been very sharp of late. Went high, but couldn't bring that one in.
2nd down and 15.
Plenty of time to throw the ball. Doug leaning back. The ball sails just ever so slightly on him, and Will Moore just makes a gallant effort to get the hands out and stretch out. But the ball's just past the outstretched fingertips.
2nd and 10. 2nd and 15, correction, after the penalty, as Calgary tries to keep the drive alive. Flutie now gets outside, flag down. Flutie throwing, wide open, Pee Wee Smith, touchdown, but flag down, and this one's coming back.
I think they're going to call Jamie Crysdale for an illegal block.
And Wally Buono's Calgary Stampeders haven't had a lot go their way in this
Legal
first
block.
half.
Calgary, number 67. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down, repeated.
It is indeed Jamie Crysdale. The right guard.
Jamie Crysdale, he's moved all around, but let's take a look here. The block, keep going just a bit, let it run. And we're going to see, now just stone it up. Doug Flutie is sitting there, but Jamie Crysdale came and made the block in the middle of the back. And it's very costly for the Calgary offense.
2nd and 25 now. Flutie back at midfield. Brooks Finley in pursuit. Now he unloads it. Nobody there except Riders, but it's out of bounds into a snowbank. And it's 3rd down as the Saskatchewan defense dug in.
Right from the onset of this game, Chris, this Saskatchewan defense has dug in. Doug Flutie has not had a lot of success. And these guys, as I said, Bobby Durson, they got Gary Lewis, LeBrant Robinson, Sean Brantley, all of these guys up there, very disciplined in their attack, and it is orchestrated by that man right there, Jim Daly.
Been a busy half for Tony Martino, who was the least busy of all CFL punters this year. Took a few steps before that kick, which hit Kenton Leonard. That hit the Calgary Stampeder. Ulmer picks it up, and
Flag is down.
there'll be no yards on that one. 9:31 to go, first half, and it continues to be a defensive struggle.
Memorial Trophy winner, the fans' choice.
Chris Cuthbert, Danny Kepley, Mark Lee, and the CFL on CBC crew at McMahon Stadium. The BC Lions await the winner of this one. They upset Edmonton yesterday with a sturdy defense. Ray Yock has got some good memories for McMahon Stadium, and so do you. 1975.
First Grey Cup that I've ever saw was here one time. We beat Montreal 9-8 in about a 35 below zero day.
And that
Wally
was
Bono was on that team.
on the other side. Ray Yock, his only Grey Cup victory. He was the coach of the year in 1970. In 1980, and this in his first head coaching job in the 90s, I think is a top candidate to win it again. Flag flies as Saskatchewan takes too much time.
Time count violation. Saskatchewan number 12. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Smart move by Tommy Burgess. And think if something is not right, rather than take a big loss or throw an interception or have something go wrong, just take a 5-yard penalty. It's still first and 10. Come back and snap it again.
Here's Saunders on the draw play, and Mike Saunders gets the 5 from the penalty back.
Gets the 5 yards back. 96.
Sreko Zizakovic with the tackle.
Nothing really fancy about this. Just these big guys getting after you. A little bit of a trap play. There comes Big Dan Payne again leading the way. Sreko Zizakovic is able to get a leg on Mike Saunders.
Second and 10.
Bring him down. He's able to pick up 5 yards. It does make it second and 10.
Saunders has 38 yards on 4 carries, second and 10. Burgess rolling. Not trying to cut back. Got away from Zizakovic. Wide open field. Over the 50 and into Calgary territory. Tommy Burgess is finally down at the Calgary 49-yard line.
With the carry for the Roughriders.
That's his longest run of the year. Previously just 13 yards, but he rumbled for 29.
Oh, I tell you what, he got so much help all the way along the way. Good quick feet. Zizakovic cuts him back in. Now he breaks out and he's running, but just to the right of your screen, and you just can't see it on this. But folks, believe me, Narco comes back, and Alondra Johnson is trying to chase to make the tackle, and Narco hits him right in the chest and pancakes him.
Saskatchewan on the move. Burgess out of the shotgun. Looking deep. And Narcisse being bumped down there. Good coverage by Douglas Kraft. And it falls incomplete.
Every now and then, Tommy Burgess just takes it deep just for the heck of it. I think just to make this Calgary defense respected, they will go that. It's not going to be pure nickel and dime. But you're going to see the matchup of Narcisse and Kraft. A lot of contact going down the sideline. Little shove right at the end. No blood, no foul.
And Narcisse out of bounds at one point on the route. Well, Doug Kraft, they say, has been challenged this year by opposing players. We saw him with a real duel against Earl Winfield, but all in all, he's been solid on the corner for Calgary. Second and 10. Burgess throwing. There's Narcisse going high. Can't bring it down, and Kraft drilling him at the Calgary bench.
Burgess pass again intended for number 80, Don Narcisse. Incomplete.
And so it's third down and just out of Saskatchewan's field goal range. They'll bring Brent Matich on.
But more importantly, for the confidence of Saskatchewan, they were able to maintain possession of the ball. And again, that is a real key right now. Keep Doug Flutie off the field. I don't want to seem redundant in this, but that is the best defense that they can possibly have.
And don't give them a short field, and they should be able to back up the Stampeders here. Coleman at his 10. And he's drilled by Ray Bernard, who has returned to the Saskatchewan lineup. Bernard broke his ankle against Calgary back in August. This is his first game since the injury was sustained. Well, let's check the stats for Doug Flutie. And they are not what we're used to, especially here at McMahon Stadium.
And that's just not a knock against Doug Flutie, but it's more of a compliment to the way that this Saskatchewan defense has played him. They have put a lot of pressure on Doug Flutie and forced him to have to do some things that he doesn't normally like to do.
There's that hitch screen again. Pee Wee Smith, and he's drilled. That's a terrific play by Dale Joseph.
Just an incredible defensive play by Dale Joseph, the halfback. The hitch screen is going out there, and then he has Will Moore that's going to come out and try to make a block on it. He's going to fight the block off, stay on the outside, gets great alignment, and comes up and still makes the tackle on Pee Wee. Solid play by Dale Joseph.
2nd and 10. Some people say they don't play defense in the CFL anymore, but the Western semis will change their minds. Flutie throwing over the middle, and let's see. Saskatchewan defenders all say no catch, but I believe they're going to give it to Alan Pitts. At the 36-yard line. Let's see if he caught it.
And it is a catch and a Stampeder.
I think we're going to get the best angle right here because it's going to come right into your living room. Catches the ball, it comes down, traps it, bounces off, and they give him a catch. That wasn't even close. That was not even close.
18 yards for number 18, and when you catch 126 during the year, maybe they give you the benefit of the doubt.
Well, maybe we're going to have to start going to some kind of instant replay up here, because in crucial games like that, you can't have a blown call like that that can dictate possibly the outcome of a game one way or the other. Take some of the pressure off of these reps.
Donaldson getting attention. He's had a rash of injuries this year. Boy, Ray Yock won't like to see that replay, because it would have been 3rd down and Calgary punting from near their goal line. Instead, they get the ball up at the 36.
And you think the roles have been reversed there, because in a sense that Saskatchewan is ending up starting on a short field. So now, in this case, Calgary gets an opportunity to continue the drive.
Welcome back to McMahon, where the Calgary Stampeders have yet to score an offensive point this afternoon. Their 2 points coming on a safety early on in the game. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, a field goal from Paul McCallum, and they have the lead in this defensive struggle as the likes of Sean Brantley have dominated so far. 1st down, though, for the Stampeders. And over the middle, there's Pitts again. And Alan Pitts down by Joseph at the 44 of Calgary.
Doug Flutie really trying to mix up his play selection this time. Again, play action inside, trying to freeze the linebackers. Now the route crossing across the back, just behind the linebackers as they stepped up. Dale Joseph's doing an excellent job of closing down.
Now up the middle, Tony Stewart with a burst. To the Saskatchewan 54, Ron Getz brought him down. The all-time leading rusher for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And a hurry-up offense for Calgary. The numbers for Stewart. First 1,000-yard man for Calgary since '86. That extra dimension to this offense that they felt they needed at this time of the year. This time a fake to Stewart over the middle. There's Pitts again. 5th catch for Alan Pitts, and he's into Saskatchewan territory with another 1st down at the 45-yard line. Alan Pitts, 11 100-yard games this year, 2 against Saskatchewan.
Doug Flutie does a good job of reading man coverage, and what they're going to do is drag Pitts right across the field because he's running away from the coverage. Anthony Drawhorn just cannot close the distance there, and it makes it an easy pitch and catch for Pitts and Flutie.
That trap catch by Pitts is looking bigger as the drive continues, and it's Pitts again, has a half dozen catches in the game, drilled out at the 37. And that will be short of a 1st down by a yard or 2. Anthony Drawhorn, 7-year veteran. One of the DBs with the task of trying to limit the damage with Alan Pitts.
Anytime you line up across and you see Alan Pitts out there, it's going to be a tough day at the office.
Clock running, and now the offense for Calgary is 2 with Tony Stewart crashing down to the 26. The safety, Glenn Suter. Help from Drawhorn on the tackle. It's another Calgary first down.
This is how Flutie is mixing up this offense so well. He does the play-action passes inside, then he gets the linebackers to soften up a bit to try to cover those underneath routes, and then he just runs the ball right down their throat.
Oh, Wally Buono told us last night he wanted to establish the run, to slow down the rush, keep the defense off balance. Here's Flutie drilling it for Pitts, and Drawhorn all over him. Incomplete. Great coverage there by Drawhorn. Buono barking signals as we get the 3-minute warning here at McMahon.
Back at McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where the Riders lead the Stampeders 3-2 with 3 minutes to go in the first half on the Calgary sideline with Dave Sapunjas. Dave, what is the word on the shoulder?
Well, it's re-broke my clavicle on my left side, which means I'm out for the year. I'll be a cheerleader again for another couple weeks. And it happened on a simple little out pattern by me. Turned the ball up, made a couple moves, and I think Lewis drove me right into the ground and snapped again.
Same way you heard it the last time.
Very similar, exactly.
That's tough luck, Dave. Well, sorry to hear about that, and good luck to the Stamps the rest of the way.
All right, thanks.
2nd and 10,
Chris?
Stampeders at the 26.
Yes, Dave Sapunjas led this team in receptions in '93, such a key man. And here's Flutie calling his own number straight up the middle, and Doug Flutie has this offense in high gear now. Suter again, the safety called upon to make the tackle, but a 13-yard pickup, and the ball down to the 12-yard line.
See, from this angle, what he had to do that, he had Stewart flash out of the backfield very quickly and just swing out of there, and it opened up the middle, and he took full advantage of it.
Operating without a huddle. First down. Throwing into the end zone. Touchdown. Will Moore.
Doug Flutie picked up on something very quickly about 4 series ago, where all of a sudden, in 2nd and long situations, Saskatchewan was having some success as far as their substitution. He went to his hurry-up offense. That forces Saskatchewan to keep the same type of personnel on the field. It limits them to what they want to do defensively, and then Doug has taken advantage of that and able to get the ball in for the major.
And McLaughlin kicks it through for the extra point. And the Calgary Stampeders regain the lead. It's 9-3. Will Moore, 11 touchdowns during the regular season. Second in that category to Alan Pitts in touchdown receptions. But once again, Kep, don't want to dwell on it, but that drive was sustained by a trap ball that was thrown at Alan Pitts.
Trapped, it was just dropped. It was fumbled. It was all over the field. But nevertheless, it's all done by. It's forgotten about. That's yesterday's news also. The fact is now, Doug Flutie was able to keep possession of that ball, come out there, and find Will Moore on the out pattern. Dale Josephs gave him a very big cushion to work with. And Doug Flutie just does not make too many mistakes.
Great drive. 10 plays and 92 yards. And they chewed up 4.5 minutes of the clock.
Number 5, Larry Thompson, and number 2, Terrell Ulmer are the deep men for the Riders.
So Mark McLaughlin has it on the tee. And sends it to Larry Thompson at his 15. And Thompson hit by Marvin Coleman, brought down at the 31. 2:20 to go, first half. Well, Tom Burgess has not lit it up either. 4 for 13, and remember, in his last outing here, he was 4 for 11 for 47 yards before Warren Jones was brought in, and Ray Yock told us that he has plans to use both quarterbacks in the playoffs.
Well, in some sense, if Burgess is having some trouble moving the ball, then they've got a guy named Warren Jones who's had some great success against this Calgary team over the years.
Out of the shotgun, and they dump it off. There is Elgard, and he's over the 35 to the 37, and a gain of 6. 71 catches, 1,100 yards for Elgard during the regular season. And that's the 5th straight 1,000-yard season and 8 in his distinguished career.
Ray's just going to come up and he's going to push Will Johnson by him, and then it's just a little dump screen pass to him. Hopefully that they thought that the Calgary defense was going to forget completely about him. But this Calgary defense has got such great team speed, and they pursued to the ball as good as any team I've ever seen, and they were able to limit that game to about 6 yards.
First completion of the second quarter for Burgess. 2nd and 4, lots of time. There's the receiver, and it's Larry Thompson with the first down. Junior Thurman wrestles him down. Junior Thurman, another Calgary Stampeder that was not in the lineup for last year's playoffs because of an injury, and a key man in the secondary.
Good blocking up front. Kenny Walker does an excellent job of keeping outside leverage, and he forces Burgess back into the middle. But this secondary can only cover for so long, and a guy like Thompson has got the quick feet and the speed to be able to find the open area, and Tommy Burgess and him were able to lock up for a big first down.
Minute 33 to go, first half. Burgess again, and he's down. Ball loose. I think Saskatchewan got back on it, but Will Johnson really drilled Tom Burgess.
Just look at the speed that he's going to get coming outside. That's Michelle Lammy, the right tackle, that Will Johnson's able just to speed rush right around to the outside. Tommy Burgess is just a marked man with a big bullseye painted on him. And Will Johnson, 17 sacks through the course of this season, led the CFL, makes no mistake.
And Calgary led in team sacks with 58.
At the 43.
They say no sack, though. They're going to give an incomplete pass to Burgess. Now he has an open Donald Narcisse in front of the Saskatchewan bench for a catch. And Narcisse extending his streak. He catches a ball in every game he's played. 24 yards with that catch, and they're now into Calgary territory with 1:22 to go.
Tommy Burgess is a good release this time. He catches him in between the zones, and Narcisse is able to fill into the hole, finds it right there, makes no mistake about pulling that ball in, does the little dance after that he usually holds for touchdowns.
From the Calgary 44, Burgess floats this one high, and Greg Knox brings it down. That one sailed on Tommy Burgess, and Greg Knox played center field. 10 interceptions during the regular season to tie a CFL record, and he has his first of this playoff year.
A return of 28 yards for Knox.
As good a center fielder as there is in this league, folks. Tommy Burgess just has the ball. As you said, Chris, it sailed on him. It was a poorly thrown ball by Burgess. And again, I just can't understand why he keeps wanting to try to take it deep to the home run. It's not there. You've got to set it up. He's got plenty of time to throw the ball, looking at the field, but there's nobody around. The closest guy there, he makes a perfect strike to Greg Knox.
Just when it appeared Saskatchewan had things going their way offensively. Here's Flutie, dumping it off to Stewart. Tony Stewart zigging and zagging across the 45 up to the 47, has 7. Ron gets the tackle. Well, Saskatchewan doesn't turn the ball over very often. In fact, they led the league in that department with 41 turnovers through the entire season.
In the plus-minus, Chris, you're right. They led the league in a plus 27, which is incredible. And talking about interceptions, fumble recoveries, and turnovers on downs.
But they have given the ball away to Calgary here, and Doug Flutie wanting to make them pay for it. Pitts away from one, and down by Albert Brown near midfield. That's a first down for the Stampeders with 45 seconds to go in the first half.
Number 4, Albert Brown.
Here again, we've seen a couple of times of Anthony Drawing trying to come up and going to make just a real solid tackle, but what he doesn't do is break down. Pitts has good vision, gets able to see him, and he's got quick feet. He's going to make him miss, and he makes the first guy miss a lot.
Here's Flutie looking for a wide open Alan Pitts. Flint Suter, the long man back, and Pitts is caught from behind by Dale Joseph at the 6. 49 yards. Flutie to Pitts.
It's a 49-yard play.
Third straight game against Saskatchewan. He's gone over 100 yards.
Looks like a blown coverage again in the Saskatchewan secondary because Pitts just runs a simple corner route, and there's nobody around. Glenn Suter, the safety, is standing in the middle. All of a sudden, Dale Joseph comes out of nowhere. Maybe that's panic speed because he thought that was his man. Comes in from behind, and it sets up again. Another opportunity for Calgary to make a major.
Boy, you give Calgary the opportunity, and they will seize it. The last drive.
But Chris, let's go back one thing. The last major, the opportunity wasn't given by this Saskatchewan defense. The opportunity was given by the refs on a poor, just absolute poor call. You figure with the number of eyes that are out there, somebody had to see it hit the ground.
But Flutie took advantage, and he is again of the interception thrown by Burgess. Rolling, throwing to Wiggins, and he's drilled. Dave Van Bellingham, the extra DB, hit Wiggins as soon as he caught the ball, and that's no gain on the play.
Take a look at this time now. Now, right back here, this is Wiggins. Now, he's going to line up in the backfield. All he's going to do is come all the way outside, go to the flat. They're trying to get a mismatch on a linebacker, but they bring the halfback over. This is a good job this time. Van Bellingham was their extra back.
Floating in the end zone, incomplete, was looking for Pitts. And it'll be third down. So the Saskatchewan defense doesn't give up the big one, and that's critical with 6 seconds to go here in the first half.
This is a defense that will bend but hasn't broken so far, and it's just a matter of making some adjustments because the two big gains that Calgary has gotten came on some miscues in the Saskatchewan secondary.
So Mark McLaughlin in to try this from 14 yards out, and it's good. And Calgary takes a 12-3 lead with 4 seconds to play in the first half.
And that is another football for the Stay in School section, sponsored by Human Resources Development.
Well, that's got to be a little consolation for Ray Yock and the Roughriders. They played tough here in this first half. But Calgary has put some second quarter points on the board, 10 of them in the last 3 or 4 minutes to open up a lead.
Chris, I think it's a great compliment to the Saskatchewan team to come in here and be this close going into halftime. And the reason that they are trailing behind is because of a couple of big mistakes. Those mistakes are correctable, and they can make those adjustments at halftime.
Tom Burgess down on one knee.
Burgess took 3 seconds off the clock, and he'll have to do it again. And the two teams will head to the dressing room. That was the first interception thrown by Burgess in the last 4 games. And that will do it for the first half.
Goes down to win the first half.
Well, the defense has made most of the noise. And Ray Yock's team, although down, very much in this Western semifinal against the 15-3 Calgary Stampeders of Wally Buono. Mark?
Chris, coming up on Live at the Half, the Lions await the winner of this game in next week's final. We'll look at the toll. Yesterday's win on Edmonton took on their team. We'll also go to Winnipeg for the latest on the East semifinal, Bombers and Riders. Back at at McMahon Stadium in Calgary, live at the half, where the Stampeders hold the lead here at halftime over the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Well, yesterday, the expansion Baltimore CFLers guaranteed themselves a berth in the Eastern Final with a big 35-14 win over the Toronto Argonauts at Baltimore's Memorial Stadium. And they did it without their record-breaking running back Mike Pringle. It was a substitute who would be the star of this football game. You're looking at Memorial Stadium. In yesterday's semifinal game, the Argos appeared to be in control of this game early. That's Mo Dean scoring from 2 yards out to give Toronto a 10-3 lead over Baltimore, but they would not be able to hang on, because that's when the Baltimore comeback began. Robert Drummond taking the handoff from Tracy Ham, rumbling down the field. He would score 2 touchdowns in this football game and rush for 111 yards. Tracy Ham also had a hot hand. His favorite receiver, slotback Chris Armstrong, with 2 spectacular touchdown catches on the day. A big player for the Baltimore CFLers. And there's Matt Goodwin, who's the Eastern nominee for Rookie of the Year. He had a big game on defense for Baltimore as Don Matthews leads his expansion football team into the East Division Final against either Winnipeg or Ottawa.
All year, and guys who've been making plays for all year continue to make plays. So we're pleased with where we're at. Obviously, we ain't where we want to be yet, but we'll continue to strive to get there. Playing against Tracy Ham, who can move the ball at will, and you got to hit the open guys. And I put a lot of the weight on my shoulders, and I accept that, and I just got to get better.
Yeah, it's always tough to go to Winnipeg and get a win. But if we go down there, we're going to see if they're 47 points better at home.
In the West semifinal yesterday in Edmonton, the BC Lions won their first playoff game since 1988, a 24-23 last-second thriller over the Edmonton Eskimos. But what toll did that game take on the BC Lions? There were a rash of injuries, and to talk more about that, we're joined live from Vancouver by BC General Manager Eric Tillman. So, Eric, after a night to nurse the injuries and to assess the damage, what is the situation with the injuries?
Well, Mark, we had a very physical game yesterday. We are a beat-up football club, but we're a happy team. It was a big win for us. Both quarterbacks are injured, Danny McManus and Kent Austin. Kent really gutted it out in the second half yesterday. Glenn Scrivener, one of our better players, didn't even make the trip with us yesterday. And then, of course, 2 big injuries in the secondary to Barry Wilburn and to Les Brown. So we're glad that we had 8 days to get ready, and injuries are just a part of the equation this time of the year. But we'll be, regardless of whoever we play next weekend, we'll be ready.
Is it true that Wilburn has a cracked rib and that Les Brown, in fact, has torn knee cartilage?
Well, we don't know what Les's status is yet. There was swelling in the knee coming back last night, and if there's any possible way for him to play, he will. I think you have to give tremendous credit for Barry Wilburn, to Barry. I mean, he was in a lot of pain when Les went down. He approached Dave Ritchie on the sideline and said he wanted to go back in, and that's how you win championships, players that find a way to raise themselves to a different level, and Barry was a big difference in the game, and we couldn't have done it without him yesterday.
Eric, let's look ahead to the West Final. We hear your players all saying they want to play Calgary, take the road of most resistance. And you guys are, 1-14, I think, against the Stampeders.
Well, from an organizational standpoint, I would prefer to play Saskatchewan because from our fans' perspective, that would mean the game would be at home. And we have great respect for Ray Yock, and the job that he's done this year. But it would be, we would relish the challenge of going to Calgary as well. The nice thing for us, Mark, is that we're in the Western Division Finals, and I think that's an indication of how far this team has come since Bill Comrie bought the team. And again, we're very excited. Wherever we're playing next Sunday, we're just going to be happy to be there.
I would also think the fans in BC would like another crack at Doug Flutie. The fans, they're still sore about having Flutie stolen here to Calgary a couple of years ago.
Well, Doug Flutie is a great player, and we know what he's done for this league and what he's done for Calgary, but that's a part of our past, and we can't do anything about that. Over the last 2 years, we've been aggressive in trying to build a winner here in Vancouver. I think we've accomplished that, and again, we're very happy with where this team is, and again, excited about the opportunity next week.
All right, Eric, well, good luck to you and the Lions awaiting the winner of this game between Calgary and Saskatchewan next weekend in the West Final. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you, Mark.
Eric Tillman, the general manager of the BC Lions here at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. The Stampeders have assumed control with a 12-3 lead over Saskatchewan and their big following. We'll be back. welcome back to McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where the Stampeders lead the Saskatchewan Roughriders 12-3 at the half. Well, the other Eastern semifinal taking place in Winnipeg this afternoon. The 13-5 first place Blue Bombers hosting the 4-14 Ottawa Roughriders. GM Cal Murphy of the Bombers trying to guard against overconfidence all week, and with good reason. This is the only major of the first half. Matt Dunnigan throwing 36 yards downfield to wide receiver Alfred Jackson for the touchdown. But this football game is close. It's 14-9. Winnipeg just barely in front of those lowly Ottawa Roughriders in the third quarter. The Riders getting all 9 of their points on 3 Terry Baker field goals. Troy Westwood has had 2 field goals for the Bombers, so a close one in the East. Here at McMahon Stadium in Calgary, 12-3, the Stampeders in front, and neither quarterback, Flutie nor Tom Burgess, really hot with their hand in the first half. Let's go to Chris and Den.
No, Mark, there seems to be a theme developing this weekend. One Mr. Kepley has savored, the theme being defense.
Well, it's something that is just a pleasure to watch out there. I mean, when you talk about the CFL and Doug Flutie's and Damon Allen's and guys that are flashy offensive players, but when you get to see defense played the way we've got to see it, particularly yesterday and in the first half of this game, you know, it just brings a real warm to my heart.
Yeah, Flutie and the offense really struggled early, but they got a major break that seemed to turn it around.
There's no way to say this, but it's just total incompetence right now about the referees in this case. You know, you want to try to give a player like Alan Pitts all the benefits of the doubt sometime, but I don't think there's any doubt. The ball hits him in the chest, it comes down, it's rolling around all on the ground. There, it still hasn't had it, but they give him the reception there, and then that leads to a major later on that comes in. About 3 series later, Doug Flutie's able to sprint out. He finds Will Moore on the out pattern, and it makes it a major score. And that puts it, you know, in a negative sense for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, if they ruled incomplete, they would have been punting from deep in their own zone. Instead, it's a 92-yard touchdown drive. Look at these numbers, though. Flutie did get the offense going second quarter.
Well, this is the kind of guy, when he goes out there, it's a chess match. He's trying to fill out what Saskatchewan's going to try to do to him in the first quarter. He got it figured out. He came in with the hurry-up offense. He didn't allow Saskatchewan to make any of those changes that they like to make. And then when he did come in, he got the success, and that's why the numbers are better than they are, and that's why they're in the lead right now.
Well, Saskatchewan's defense had a good first half. We'll see if they make adjustments to limit the damage in the second half. Mark?
And Chris, the Stampeders, of course, will have to go the rest of the way in the playoffs without Dave Sapunjis out with a broken collarbone. They lead Saskatchewan 12-3 at the half. An update from Winnipeg. It's now 17-9 Bombers.
Enjoying the action at McMahon Stadium in Calgary today as we welcome you back for the second half of this Western semifinal. A 12-3 Calgary lead, 9 points. The margin here as we get set for the second half of football, and kept the average margin of victory for the Stampeders at home this year an astounding 29 points. So that kind of underlines what Saskatchewan's done in the first half to really stake a claim to this football game that they're going to be a tough team to shake.
They're as well-rounded a team as you want to see, offensively, defensively. They've bettered their special teams this year. They've got an offensive that comes in that averaging 38 points a game. Their defense has only given up 19 points per game. Doug Flutie got hot. He kind of got into a rhythm in that second quarter, went up with that hurry-up offense, limit the kind of defense that Saskatchewan wants to play, and he took advantage. He got some breaks, and he made some breaks. And that's the name and the nature of this game.
Well, Tommy Burgess had the one picked off in the first half. And do you think the message is to stay with that controlled offense in the second?
I think they had success with the controlled offense and take it downtown when they can, not try to force that big play.
Here's Larry Thompson on the kickoff, underway, second half, and Thompson with a good return out over the 40-yard line. 26 yards on the return as Burgess comes out, the offensive star of the 1990 Grey Cup.
And you know, it sounds kind of silly when you keep saying every series when you come out, it's a big series. Of course it is when you get into a playoff situation, but to come out right now after the half, and hopefully for Saskatchewan's sake that they're able to create some possession drives and come away with some points at the end of this drive is just be great for their confidence. They don't want to turn it on 2 and out and give it back to Calgary and give them the opportunity to increase this lead further.
First down. Scrambling around now, outletting to Elgard at the 50, and Alondra Johnson wraps him up there. That's a pickup of 8 for Elgard, who makes his second catch of the afternoon. Well, Dan Farthing was the favorite receiver of Burgess in the first half.
And this was the big question that you and I were talking about. You've got Thompson in here, and then all of it, you had Turner before that had a chance, and Turner created a situation. He is a true vertical threat, a deep threat that can take it downtown, and you have to respect that. But they went in place. They put Larry Thompson on, and he's only caught 1 pass the first half.
Saunders off the left side, needed 2. And he'll be close to the first down.
With the carry. 2 yards on the play.
Ray Yock looking for a spot.
Number 75, Stu Laird, leading the way defensively for Calgary.
And they're slow to unpile.
They'll bring out the change, Chris, and this will all depend on the spot right now because he looked short initially when he first started.
Either way this game goes today, we'll have a very new look for the Western Final next week. BC has not played Calgary in a Western Final since '64. Saskatchewan has not played BC in a Western Final since 1963. It is a first down, and Burgess and the offense will continue.
At the 52.
I still stand by the philosophy right now. Be patient with this offense. Take it down. You've got 30 minutes of football for the rest of this season.
Saunders stood up the line, and a flag flies in the backfield of the Calgary Stampeders.
Number 91.
Now, while they sort that out, we'll check the statistics through the first 30 minutes of play. And we saw that most of those net yards for Calgary and the passing yards came in the second quarter.
Couple of big broken plays that Alan Pitts was able to get. And then the big thing now, the turnaround as far as...
Saskatchewan number 81, 15-yard penalty, first down repeated.
Sorry, just finish that thought. The turnaround that Calgary had as far as time on the clock and keeping possession drives. You saw the penalty, a 15-yarder against Ray Elgard.
On a chop block. Well, that sets up a 1st and 25 and pushes it all the way back to the Saskatchewan 37-yard line.
Now for the Riders, back at their own 37.
Burgess going behind Larry Thompson, who got one hand on it.
Burgess pass is
falling incomplete.
Larry Thompson.
It'll be second down.
Incomplete.
Well, Thompson suffered a broken hand, missed 4 games, and came back. It was his first game last week against Hamilton. Albert Turner had replaced him and caught 5 touchdowns in the 5 games he had played.
You keep trying to run this short hitch stuff against a defense like Calgary. These guys' pursuit of the ball as quick as anybody I've seen in the league. Like I said, they read extremely well, and they get a pre-snap read defensively what that offense is trying to do, and they react to it.
Second and 25, Burgess in trouble, and he's nailed by Marvin Pope. The middle linebacker brings Burgess to the turf, and it'll be third down.
Compliment again the Calgary secondary because these are the guys that just shut it all down. Burgess again wants to go downtown. You look, he's cranking it up. He wants to throw it 40, 50 yards down the field. Calgary's not going to give him any of that chance. And then all they have to do is make him pull it down. And when he pulls it down, look out because he's going to draw a lot of attention. And Big Daddy was able to smell him out.
Matic booms one. Coleman backed up to his 14. Has a seam, but a flag is thrown. Van Bellingham brought it down. Gets, by the way, gets with the tackle at the 45, but there are a couple of flags down after a 56-yard Brent Matic punt. So a face mask against Saskatchewan as well as the illegal block. Let's join Mark.
Well, Chris, as the shadows grow longer and the sun begins to move down, the Stampeder bench is now totally in the shade, whereas the Saskatchewan bench still in the sunlight, and the Stamps have just fired up the new gas burners on the sidelines here. They have been equipped with natural gas pipelines instead of the propane, which, as you'll recall, froze during the Western Final last year. The Stamps were without heat for the entire second half. They've made sure that won't happen this time.
Heck, Kep, I don't think they need the heaters on either side, do they?
I don't know. I noticed that he didn't run any piping up here to try to, warm up these boots a little bit for us. I'm starting to get a little chill. How about you?
I'm quite comfortable, thank you.
I would think so with those Brogan boots that you have on.
Calgary with the football, their first possession of the second half. And Flutie, as Brian Wiggins open in front of the Calgary bench, drilled out of bounds at the 49.
Gets it close to the 50-yard line.
Well, expectations, we talked about at the start of the game, and you have such high expectations of Doug Flutie every time he takes to the field. It didn't feel like he really was in sync in the first half, and then you check the numbers, almost 200 yards of passing.
That's the advantage of going also with the hurry-up offense. It makes everybody stay sharp, stay focused, and concentrate on what you're doing. You can't have any lulls or lack of concentration out there.
Flutie back to Wiggins, and looks like he picked that one off the turf.
Come on, Chris, wait a second. All I know right now, if I can't be a broadcaster anymore, I'm going to go get a striped shirt and put it on. If they called this a reception, and I haven't even seen the replay yet, come on, give your head a shake. Your eyeballs are stuck somewhere. Let's see what happened. Boom, it's down. It's rolling around.
It's gained 6 yards. 2nd and 4.
You don't think he cradled that underneath?
Every receiver that's watching it across television right now across the country is saying, yep, that was the catch. I think so.
Gain of 6. 2nd and 4. And Stewart up the middle. Jurison with the first hit on Stewart. And that's close to the first down.
Bobby Jurison, number 71, also in on the hit for Saskatchewan.
Well, injuries have taken their toll. Dave Sapunjas lost to Doug Flutie in the offense on the Calgary side. And Flutie now over 200 yards and a touchdown pass here 4 minutes into this third quarter.
Well, you have to feel for a guy like Dave Sapunjas to go out, but to their credit, the Calgary offense has been used to having to play without Sapunjas when he broke his collarbone the first time. So this is not something new. This is not a big curveball that's being thrown at them. It's not the kind of pitch that they would like to hit, but it's just this is the facts. This is reality.
On the Saskatchewan side, it is a first down Calgary. The Saskatchewan side, LeBryant Robinson is out, so is Vincent Donaldson. Flutie again to Alan Pitts. Anthony Drawhorn with the tackle, but Pitts has been unstoppable since the second quarter.
Well, think of it. Anthony Drawhorn tips the scales. He's 5'9", 166. You got Pitts coming down at 6'4", 206. All he's going to do is turn, front him up. The ball's thrown right on the money just before he even makes the break, and that makes it tough. It doesn't matter what your size is as a defensive back. Prime time has his work cut out for him in this second half.
Yeah, he's going to be working overtime.
Super 7, the new big
9 catches, 138 yards for Pitts, and he got 10 yards in the length of a football more on that last catch.
A 10-yard catch.
And he is savoring this. Missed last year's playoffs with that knee injury. And he's making up for lost time. Offense has a first down at the Saskatchewan 40. And there is Vince Danielson, and Danielson drilled out by Dale Joseph. Tough time negotiating that snowbank, but Danielson's been a handy guy for Calgary, replacing Dave Sapunjas this year. 21 catches in the regular season, and that's his first playoff catch.
#1 draft pick. Coach Bono said, I have no concerns about how well he can catch the ball. What was really good and what I was really excited about and saw was what he does after he catches the ball.
Doug Flutie chipping away against this Saskatchewan defense that's so tough, but Flutie 4 for 4, 36 yards in this third quarter. And Stewart drops the football. That's the first incompletion of the second half for Doug Flutie as John Hufnagel, the offensive coordinator, looks on.
What a terrific guy he is, Chris. You and I had the opportunity just before the game to sit in his office, chat with him a little bit. He's excited. Penn State won a close one yesterday. This could be a head coach in this league if he gets the opportunity, because he is definitely one of the best offensive coordinators this league has.
Let's see what Flutie and he call on second down. Well, Crysdale moved before the snap of the ball, and they'll tack 5 on against Calgary. Let's join Mark.
Chris, we have an update from the East semifinal in Winnipeg. Third quarter action now. Troy Westwood has kicked a 17-yard field goal to put the Bombers up 20-9. Westwood now has kicked, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 field goals. 3 field goals from Terry Baker. All of the points for Ottawa.
So both riders, East and West, have been tough in this semifinal Sunday. Doug Flutie throwing, and there's Pitts wide open again. Out of bounds. Joseph takes him into the snow, but that's about the only way they can stop Alan Pitts. 22 yards more on that pickup from Doug Flutie.
You get him knee deep in it, you may slow him down to about a 4-4, because this guy can motor. Post corner, just turns Dale Joseph all the way around. Joseph's taking a peek into the backfield. Cardinal sin against a guy like Alan Pitts, and Alan Pitts just makes no mistake as far as hauling that ball in. Numbers for the day: 10 catches, 160 yards.
Yep, I think he'd get open with snowshoes on.
He may be able to wear those boots you've got and get open.
First and goal inside the 10-yard line. Here comes the rush. Flutie over Pitts' head. Incomplete.
Overshot him, incomplete.
Dan Rashovich was blitzing that time, put a little heat on Doug Flutie.
Big Raz is really excited about getting an opportunity to get back in the starting lineup. He's been injured a number of weeks through the course of this season, playing with a broken thumb and a small cast on it today.
Heck, that's nothing. He played with a broken leg during a game earlier this year. Second and goal. Flutie again looking in the end zone. Touchdown, Alan Pitts. And what a display he has put on this afternoon.
The big key right now, Chris, was the fact that Vincent Donaldson went out of the Saskatchewan secondary, and that forced him to have to make some serious changes. Dave Van Bellingham had to come in. Terrell Ulmer is on the corner. And this is not a crisp pass. This ball is floating. It's hanging up there. Nobody's making a break on the ball except Alan Pitts. And he comes up with a big touchdown.
Saskatchewan has not been able to stop Pitts. Remember the first throw of the game to Pitts, he dropped. He's caught everything since, and Calgary leads.
Saskatchewan Roughriders 3.
Vintage Calgary offense. Flutie and Pitts doing most of the damage on that 9-play drive. It took 3:04, and the Stampeders now up 19-3.
What an incredible working relationship between these two guys. You can just see how he gets Van Bellingham turned around ever so slightly, but then when he makes the break, he's breaking back toward the goal line. And a very happy Doug Flutie, and we heard just in some conversation between he and Pitts on the sideline. He says, I wasn't sure what was happening. I was just trying to get rid of the ball, and I got rid of it, obviously, in the right area and to the right man.
Oh, we mentioned that Doug had just one playoff touchdown pass going into the game. He has 2 this afternoon. And Ulmer fumbling the ball out of bounds. And he gets up pushing with Junior Thurman. A little frustration maybe setting in. Ulmer, one of those secondary men for Saskatchewan, and
57 yards on the kickoff.
A little upset with the way that last drive went. Tom Burgess staying on the bench, so Ray Yock now down by 16. His offense not moving, has elected to go with Warren Jones here in this third quarter. Got an injured Saskatchewan Roughrider down, though, and gives us a little time to set up Jones for you. He started 4 games this year and in all won 5. Did a great job as a backup quarterback. In fact, at midseason, it looked like he won the job, but in back-to-back victories over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, he suffered a rib injury. Burgess came back and kind of regained that #1 status.
Those are those tough positions that all of a sudden when you get hurt, you don't want to go out, because whoever comes back in and plays that position for you, you may never get a chance to get back in there, and that's the case of what happened.
Ray Elgard, a little slow to get to the Saskatchewan bench.
Came into this game 71 catches for 1,100 yards through the course of the season. Harley, as the boys call him.
Warren Jones, first pass of the game, and he drills a bullet over the middle, complete. Dan Farthing in front of Marvin Pope. Well, Warren Jones came into the second meeting between these two teams, and he was sharp in that matchup. 16 of 20, 176 yards.
Make no mistake of it. Stands in the pocket, stands tall, looks at his target, and then throws a rocket out there, right in between Finley and Pope. And he adds another dimension, not only great throwing strength, but the mobility, the sprint out.
Short drop in the flat, Narcisse, and he's bounced by Kraft at the 50-yard line. And that's a gain of 7.
Now, the advantage also that Warren Jones has had is, he's been standing on the sideline watching this Calgary defense and seeing how they react to certain plays. So now when he comes in there, he has a lot better premeditated thought of where he wants to go, what he wants to attack, and how he's going to do it.
Second down and 3.
Narcisse, the great veteran out of Texas Southern. And Jones hands the ball off. Saunders on 2nd and 3.
Saunders, number 32, rolled back at the 53-yard line, right near the first
We'll see
down
where
marker.
the forward momentum took him. He was tossed back, and they will mark it
number 98.
and will bring out the chains for a measure.
Chris, make it 3rd and short. If my eyes aren't failing me as bad as my hearing.
I'm still trying to get a ruling on that last Brian Wiggins catch. You're right here, though. Short by a foot. That's Lubo Zizakovic, who is favoring an ankle. And it is 3rd down, midway through the 3rd quarter, and not that far for Ray Yock to be gambling.
Warren Jones, 6'2", 200 pounds. All he has to do is come up there, take that quarterback sneak, make sure you get the first down.
It is 3rd and short.
Nobody moves quick, no illegal procedure.
Now Warren Jones is a load, and he will just follow Mike Anderson, the center, for the first down. Jones 6'2", 200. And he'll move the yardsticks. Since the first quarter, Calgary has really racked up the first downs. 18 from the second quarter on. Saskatchewan just 6 first downs after the first quarter of play.
First and 10 Riders at midfield.
From midfield, Warren Jones has a first down. Look left and passes right, and has a completion, and that's Joey Yock with his first catch of the day.
Yock with the catch. Brought down by number 37, Matt.
And the coach's son has a gain of 7.
Warren Jones very contented again. Nickel and diamond, take again what this Calgary defense is going to get you. See if you can get down, get 6 or 7 points out of this thing. Chris, is getting scary because that guy right there, Joey Yock, and when I remember being in Edmonton and Coach Yock was the head coach there, that young kid was about 5 years old.
2nd and 3, and Saunders with a head of steam gets to the 45-yard line. He'll be close to another Saskatchewan first down. But again, Kep, we talked about whether you you take what's given or whether you go for the home run ball. And even down by 16, Warren Jones sticking to the Ray Yock game plan.
Somebody coined the phrase a long time ago, if it doesn't fit, don't force it. And it still holds true. Why force it out there? If they're going to give you certain things, go ahead and take it. It may take you a little longer to get there, but the goal is to actually get there and accomplish it. And that means a major score. They're going to need some points, Saskatchewan.
Third and short, and again, Jones will lunge for the first down. Just needed a few inches. Jones has had success. He's played well here in Calgary last year, almost staged an upset in another game. Lost a shootout to the Stampeders, 48-45. That's why Ray Yock wanted him in the lineup last week against Hamilton, just to make sure he was ready in case he was needed against the Stamps.
Chris, you may correct me too on this, but I think there was one when Tracy Ham, Steve Taylor, and Warren Jones were all in Edmonton at the same time.
In fact, Warren Jones backed up both Ken Austin and Tracy Ham, winners yesterday. Jones, an unusual circuit, and then throws the ball away, and no damage done.
Warren Jones pass intended for.
You can tell he's played a few games in the Sandlot.
It is incomplete.
4 minutes, 10 seconds to go, third quarter. Saskatchewan seeing this one slip away a bit, and Jones trying to get him back in it at 19-3.
You don't see much of the Saskatchewan offense with a guy like that coming out directly and just forcing and sprinting out and forcing the corners. Most of it starts from a straight drop back, or maybe just to set up a little bit behind the tackle, throw back somewhere, but not really sprint out.
Jones with the gun, that one overthrowing Donald Narcisse with Douglas Kraft in the neighborhood, and it brings up third down. Will we see Paul McCallum? 44-yard line, the line of scrimmage, so McCallum will be looking at a 51-yard field goal attempt.
That's within his range. His longest this year has been 55.
That is only attempt outside the 50.
Paul McCallum.
55-yarder against Ottawa. Showed plenty of light last week. A 49-yarder to win the game. Suter can't handle the snap. Suter to McCallum, and he's drilled. That's not what he was bargaining for. Marvin Pope got a chance to drill the kicker after Suter was unable to handle the snap from center. So it remains 19-3, and Calgary takes over.
The Roughriders are coming back in the East semifinal at Winnipeg. This is Danny Barrett at quarterback, takes the shotgun snap and looks downfield and finds Jock Climby 21 yards wide open in the end zone for Ottawa's first touchdown of the game. That made it 2016. But Troy Westwood has kicked his 5th field goal of this game to make it 23-16 Bombers in the fourth quarter, Chris.
Well, the much maligned Ottawa Roughriders, though, making a game of it.
Jock Climby, isn't that a Queens guy? Weren't you a Queens guy?
It is indeed.
Yeah, what happened to them this year?
Tough year this year.
Okay.
Look at all the time. How many steamboats will Doug Flutie get before he finds Pee Wee Smith? In behind Ulmer, down to the 25-yard line. Doug Flutie starting to pick apart the Saskatchewan defense.
Chris mentioned a couple of guys' names right up front. Doug Davies at center, Romano Crysdale at the guards, Covington and Kenny Moore doing just a heck of a job. Look at this, he's got all day long. Have a cup of coffee, eat a sandwich, and then throw it down to Pee Wee.
41 yards for Pee Wee Smith. And here's Tony Stewart. And that didn't fool Saskatchewan. Well, an interesting play out of the shotgun. They've got Flutie talking to Pitts, John Huffnagel, with a little bit of a gadget play.
Well, what he's going to do, he's kind of set this up a bit. You can see George Cortez laughing a bit. He's over there, he's talking to Alan Pitts, and he's been doing this 3 or 4 times already. And then see, now all of a sudden the snap's going to go right behind him. Hopefully all the Saskatchewan's going to pay attention to that. But no kidding, these guys aren't going to be fooled. But that was some pretty heads-up thinking by the Calgary offense.
2nd and 7. Quarterback draw, wide open. And Flutie dives to the 10 with a first down.
It just goes to show you right now, you don't have to pull any tricks. You don't have to fool anything. I'm going to come back. I'm going to line it up. Quarterback draw. All he's going to do is take one snap. He's going to point, give a little directions there to Rocco Romano, and then go down and make a big play, pick up a big first down.
Now Jim Daly's defense now must put the clamps on Doug Flutie. 1st and goal from the 10. Up in the air, touchdown. Fitz Danielson over Dave Van Bellingham. Caught his first ever touchdown pass a couple of weeks ago against Hamilton. Now he's got a touchdown in the playoffs.
What a great feeling for a rookie to come in and get an opportunity to play in a game of this caliber. Then also to get an opportunity to score major.
Well, it took the big machine a quarter to get revved up, but it's hitting on all cylinders now. McLaughlin adds the point after 59 seconds to go. In the 3rd quarter at McMahon Stadium, it's 26-3 Calgary.
Again, this is great protection for Doug Flutie. Nobody's going to be around him. He's got pure vision down the field. Now watch Danielson go up and take this play. Good concentration. Van Bellingham never saw the ball, kept his back turned, and Danielson was able to go up high. He's 6'4", and snare this ball and bring it in for a major score in his first playoff game.
Yeah, you've got Danielson 6'4", Pitts 6'4", Will Moore at 6'2", Pee Wee 6'1", and it looks like they've exposed that size difference against the secondary of Saskatchewan.
I think what they exposed also today was the fact that because of some injuries to that secondary, they have taken advantage of some guys that don't normally line up in the positions that they're having to play and required to play in the second half. Plus that hurry-up offense has really aided Calgary because it limited the defenses that Saskatchewan can play.
Larry Thompson finds a hole and up near the 45-yard line. Marvin Coleman with the tackle, back with Saskatchewan ball after this. Well, the Stampeders got just the 2-point safety in the 1st quarter, 10 points second, and a couple of touchdowns here in the 3rd quarter to open this thing up.
Chris, I hate to point it out again, but and again, just to sound like we're harping on it, but the downfall started on the catch that was allowed to Alan Pitts. Saskatchewan just has not been able to recover from that.
It was offside in the kickoff. Number 88, Calgary, was declined. It's a first down, Saskatchewan.
Danielson's so pumped up after that touchdown, he was a little eager to get downfield.
I'll catch touchdown passes. I'll go down and make tackles. I'll block people. I'll hit somebody. I'll carry the water. I don't care. I just want to be part of this ball club.
And the officials stop this up before the play develops in its procedure against Saskatchewan.
Legal procedure, Saskatchewan, number 63, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That's Scott Hendrickson, the left guard.
It is Scott Hendrickson, and by the way, I had a chance to talk with Scott right before the game. He wants me to say hi to his mom, who drove in from Brandon over to Moosomin to watch the game. So he said, Mom, everything's okay. I just wanted to say hi to you today.
That's right, Brandon, they're watching the other Roughriders play the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
It's been a tough day for the Hendricksons so far after yesterday's loss.
Here's another pick from Greg Knox, second of the game on the deflection. And the top Canadian on the Stampeders this season as his second of the game. Warren Jones picked off for the first time.
10 picks in the regular season, 2 so far in this game. And one of the most memorable picks that he had was against the Hamilton Tiger Cats here at home when he went 111 yards.
designed by our very own Mark McLaughlin.
Plenty of time to throw the ball. Ball sails again, and it's high. It's just a tip drill. Looks it in, tries to pick up his blockers, tries to get downfield.
Calgary Stampeders. Take it easy.
Great job by the center fielder.
Did you see where his wife missed the 111-yard interception for a touchdown? She went out for a hot chocolate, and when she came back, didn't believe when she was told he'd gone 111 yards. Oh, there's Mike Anderson on the limp, the veteran center. And injury starting to take a toll on Saskatchewan.
But Chris, as we saw yesterday, there was an injury-riddled BC team that all of a sudden found a way to rise up to the challenge and found a way to win.
And let's have a big round of applause for these two.
That's unusual. We mentioned earlier, Saskatchewan does not turn the ball over very often. In fact, they were #1 in that category during the regular season, but 3 times today, a couple of picks for Greg Knox.
Chris, just to finish my thought about the Hendersons, as I said, it was a tough day yesterday for Craig Henderson playing for the Edmonton Eskimos. Today, a tough day for Scott, the brother, and Father Lefty and Mom Carol sitting there in Moosomin taking a look at this game. It's got to hurt.
Well, Lefty, a former BC Lion, so his old team going on to play another week, and it looks like they'll be playing the Calgary Stampeders. Flutie, Wiggins. And Wiggins down to the 45-yard line.
Number 4, Alfred Brown was.
And that's the final play of the 3rd quarter. Doug Flutie and the Calgary Stampeders moving it up into high gear.
Welcome back to McMahon Stadium. There's the update from the Eastern semifinal in Winnipeg. The Bombers holding on to a 23-16 lead over the Roughriders with just 10 minutes to play in that football game. And so coming up next week, here are the possible matchups in the East. It's either Ottawa or Winnipeg. That game very close to go on to face the Baltimore CFLers. They were victorious yesterday in the East semi against Toronto. And in the West, it's Saskatchewan or Calgary, looking very much like Calgary right now as they lead 26-3 over the Riders to play the BC Lions next week in the West Final. Chris?
It is 2nd and 2 to open the 4th quarter. Stampeders.
First play of the 4th quarter now. 2nd down and 2 for the Stampeders. And to give to Stewart, and he crashes down to the 40-yard line and will move the yardsticks.
Number 74,
Tony Stewart just been an incredible addition to this already potent Calgary offense. And here's our stats through the 3rd quarter, so take a look at the rushing numbers there. Fairly equal, but the net yards passing for Calgary. Big thing, 3 turnovers for Saskatchewan.
Flutie, sidearm, and
Flutie's pass intended for Alan Pitts.
Drops that one incomplete.
Anthony Drawhorn, number 7, on the coverage again.
You can see Doug Flutie patting himself on the chest. That's my bad. That's my fault. I threw the ball behind Allen on that one. Man coverage, you get Drawhorn backed away. Then you're going to take that angle running across the field, and you're running away from the defender. And Flutie just delivers it behind the usually sure-handed Alan Pitts.
Talking about the Hendrickson brothers, well, the Flutie's on the other side of the ledger as Gary Lewis jumps the gun. But Darren outstanding yesterday for the Lions. He's in the final, and Doug looks like he'll...
Offside, Saskatchewan number 79, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
So it'll be 2nd down now and 5. Looks like it'll be a Flutie reunion next week, and Doug told us that he'll be talking to his brother tonight to compare notes.
Well, you'd have thought for a while yesterday in that ball game that Darren Flutie was the only receiver on the field for BC, other than one kind of long catch that Clark came up with.
Both players outstanding player nominees from their teams. Here's Flutie dumping it off over the middle. Incomplete. Danielson, the intended receiver, brings up 3rd down. And Mark McLaughlin coming on. Even in a game like this, you like to keep everybody sharp. McLaughlin may be called upon to kick this type of field goal next week to win a Western final.
Knowing Coach Bono the way that I do, he's going to want these guys to play 60 minutes straight, because they're going to have to do that whether it's next week or the week after that. You cannot have a lull. After you play 60 minutes, then you have an opportunity to play your best and win the football game.
Well, even the Rider fans find a way of enjoying things in a desperate situation for their team. 29-3 the score. Jones in trouble, and down he goes. Stu Laird has the sack. 11-year veteran. Talking about coming back for another year, his 12th next season, and Stu maybe having his best year in the CFL. They take the direct approach here in Calgary. There's 13 minutes to go in the game, and the public address announcer already promoting next week's home game for the Stampeders.
Well, they are deathly optimistic here, and I think being an educated gamblers that these people are, I think that could be a fair assessment at this point.
Jones out of the shotgun on 2nd and long, throws it in the flat to Saunders, who bowls over one man, but he's short of the first down by a bunch. Matt Finley with the tackle as Saunders and Keith Leonard have words.
Well, you're going to find right at this stage of the game, that's where the emotions are going to be right at the edge of the skin, and it's going to come out somewhere. There's frustration, there's anger, there's sorrow. There's just the whole tangent that's going to go through the Saskatchewan team at this point. But you can't take anything away from it, Chris. These guys started the season being unbelievable underdogs at the beginning of training camp and have come on so strong to be here in this semifinal.
There's Pee Wee Smith over the 40. Ball popped loose, but out of bounds. You know, with the defections Mark talked about at the start, nobody expected they'd be here, but they went 11-7, and here is Mark Lee.
Chris, a couple of big games in Canadian University football over the weekend. Yesterday in the Atlantic Bowl, Saskatchewan's Huskies over St. Mary's Huskies. 35-24. Saskatchewan on to the Vanier Cup to face Western, who defeated Bishops 41-24. A junior update, the national championship was held yesterday in Montreal, and Regina's Rams all over St. Leonard 52-6. So 2 Saskatchewan teams in national championships, and the third, the Roughriders, desperate now to do the same.
Doug Flutie on first down. Sean Daniels, the former Rider, powers his way up to the 48-yard line, has a gain of 7. Dan Rashovich with the tackle. Tell you what, Kep, that's going to be a great Vanier Cup between Saskatchewan and Western.
8 yards on the play.
They really will. Some of those games yesterday that we got a chance to see on the television and just see some of the highlights, just incredible effort. And as you say, the Vanier Cup matches some really incredible players that can go out there, and some defenses that can play good too. Again, I keep harping on the defenses. I like them.
2nd and a couple, and Stewart fumbles the football, and Saskatchewan indicating they have it, and they do. So the Stampeders turn it over. That's been a problem for Tony Stewart this year. And Gary Rogers, it looks like, has come up with the ball.
Straight handoff, nothing fancy about this, except Stewart runs right into the back.
Looked like Brantley stripped it free.
And Gary Rogers was the guy at the bottom of the pile that came up with the turnover.
Well, they came back from 21-0 down in that opening game of the season against Calgary, but they had a half to stage the comeback. Here they're down by 26 with just under 11 minutes to play. Saunders with some room off the left side. He drops the ball and hands it right back to Calgary. Look who's got it. Greg Knox. What a nose for the football. His 3rd turnover of the game.
Nothing fancy again. Straight handoff, trap play. You've got Michelle Lammy and Paul Vida, but the guy that's going to make the shot is Alondra Johnson. Comes across the field and just strips the ball with a terrific hit on Mike Saunders. And the youngster out of Wilfrid Laurier is all smiles today.
Boy, he's just adding to a brilliant season.
At the Calgary 43.
Calgary back in business. Fake to Stewart. And Will Moore. Up over midfield into Saskatchewan territory. Will Moore from Texas Southern, so is Brian Wiggins, and on the other side, Donald Narcisse. And we're told that James West, who was in a Western semi last year for the BC Lions, is coaching at Texas Southern now.
But if he's able to just to translate what he's known and what he's done as a football player himself to those younger players at Texas Southern, boy, are they getting a real education about football.
11 300-yard games for Flutie during the regular season, over 300 here, and here's Sean Daniels thundering down to the 44 of Saskatchewan. And Kep, when we talked to Wally Buono yesterday, this is a key addition to the 94 Stampeders.
He wanted to say he's tried to get him for a long time. He wanted him last year sometimes. He wanted him at the beginning of the season. He tried to get him in the middle of the season. And then when he did become available and there was able to for a deal to be made, Wally said, I wanted him. He is one of the key parts that he thought that he was missing in the offense that would help out. Now he's 235 pounds and he can run a 4.6 40. So that is a load. I'm telling you what he can do as far as a blocker, as a receiver, and also being able to carry the mail.
Down to 9.5 minutes to play. 29-3, Calgary with the lead. And they have been racking up the yards after a slow start in the first quarter. Flutie sneaking, and he squirted out of that pile down to the 35.
The quarterback sneak to the 35-yard line.
Well, Doug's smiling now, but 26-point lead, 9 minutes to go. You're playing BC next week. When do you sit number 20 down?
Is this one of those skirting issues again that we've had over the thing?
Oh, yeah, I'm asking the old coach.
Well, take a look at Steve. He doesn't look like he's going to get jumping right out there like he's biting at the bit that he's going to get out there at any point in time.
Here's Daniels again, and they're doing it on the ground right now against the Saskatchewan defense.
97, Brooks Finley.
Chris, let's think about it for a little bit to take it a step further and advance this. Steve Taylor, I think, is a free agent at the end of this season. Also, on the other side of the ball, Warren Jones is a free agent. These are two backup quarterbacks that in a lot of senses could be and should be starters in this league.
So is Danny McManus, the injured backup of BC. He was telling me he was comparing notes with Steve Taylor last week, but when they're going to put the clipboards down and be regular starters. Here's another catch by Pitts, and maybe the best acrobatic catch of the bunch. An even dozen for Alan Pitts.
Just another way to catch the ball in his very wealthy repertoire. This guy here, he does it all. He makes it look easy, and he can make it look hard. Drawhorn makes an excellent chance of breaking up underneath the ball, gets a little tip on it, but pure concentration by Alan Pitts is able to bring that ball in.
Yep, showtime in front of prime time for Pitts. Playoff record is 15 catches in a game. Flutie on the option. Pitch to Tony Stewart. And looked like the room was there at the sidelines, but he did step out.
Run out of bounds
at about the 8-yard line.
Gary Rogers after an 11-yard gain.
Another first down as the Stamps chew up yards and the clock. Well, Roland Prather has the record of 15 catches along with Tony Gabriel then of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Prather had 270 yards in that 15-catch game. That's another record, but Pitts is closing in. 10. Stewart to the 5. Touchdown! Tony Stewart. And it's another stampede at McMahon Stadium. 6:51 to go.
Terrific surge off that left side, and it's the kind of blocking scheme that this Calgary Stampeder team has done over and over. Good look at Larry Rickman on the sideline. He's got to be happy. They're all involved. Bruce Covington, the left tackle, Rocco Romano. You even got Sean Daniels up there, the fullback, to spring it. Then all we had to do, give the letter to Tony Stewart, and he gets it delivered.
McLaughlin adds the extra point, and the road is on here in this Western Semi. Well, most of that was done on the ground. Tony Stewart active during that 7-play march, and he finishes it off.
Good surge off the left side, as I said. You can see Sean Daniels getting a block on Dan Rasevich in the middle, and it opens up. No one's going to touch Tony Stewart.
Mike Saunders back at his 10-yard line. There's another free agent, and he'll be much sought after in the off-season. Saskatchewan desperately would like to maintain his services.
Taken down by number 35, Sean Daniels.
And Doug's got the coat on. Well, they have capitalized when they've gotten in deep. 31 points, and 20 of those have come directly off Saskatchewan turnovers.
They make very few mistakes when they get down in what Calgary calls the green zone, because green is money.
And Steve Taylor starts to limber up. Looks like Flutie may be done for the day. Jones in at quarterback, and pressure on. He gets it away over the middle. And Dan Farthing has been the top receiver for the Saskatchewan Roughriders this afternoon.
Number 10, Dan Farthing.
19 yards, the catch for the young slot back, while the great veteran, injured, watches on along the sidelines, and you wonder, he has really not made a direct comment about it, hinted about retirement. Will we see Ray Elgard next year?
12th season, 35 years old. There's got to be a lot of thoughts going on in his mind right now as he stands on the sideline.
The all-time leading receiver in the CFL. Jones, and getting a hand on that was Matt Finley, the linebacker.
Intended again for Farthing.
And with another update, let's join Mark.
Chris, at the Eastern semifinal in Winnipeg, Troy Westwood has just kicked a 42-yard field goal. That's his 6th of the game to tie the CFL playoff record held by Dave Cutler and Lance Trommick. That gives Winnipeg a 26-16 lead, 10-point advantage late now in the fourth quarter.
Late in the fourth quarter.
And if that holds, Winnipeg will entertain Baltimore next week in the Eastern Final. BC will be at McMahon Stadium to play the Stampeders in the West. Jones in trouble. Look out, Warren. Down he goes. Will Johnson with the sack.
Will Johnson.
He had 4 sacks against Saskatchewan in the regular season, and Johnson adding to his totals here with 5:01 left.
You can run, but you can't hide from these big bad boys in red. Will Johnson just absolutely chased him down, but all of that was predicated on the fact that this Calgary secondary is locked in man-to-man, and he took all the receivers away downfield. Warren Jones had no one to go to.
Quinn Magnuson is the snapper, gets it back to Brent Matich. Short kick, and Pee Wee Smith is wrestled down immediately by Brooks Finley.
With about a 1-yard return.
4:45 left.
Right away by Brooks Finley, number 97, after a 33-yard kick.
Well, we were spoiled this weekend. Kept 2 magnificent mid-November Alberta days. And we've got...
Those poor Saskatchewan fans can't win for losing anything. They're getting beat on the field. They're getting beat up in the stands.
They're hanging in there, though.
It'll be a battle right down to the last second.
Steve Taylor in at quarterback for Flutie, looking for Danielson, and it falls incomplete.
Intending a pass for 88 pitch Danielson. Incomplete. Second down at 10.
Well, Steve getting some snaps. You never know when you're going to be called upon in the postseason, and he's done a good job this year in relief of Doug Flutie when called upon.
He's learned a lot in the past few years. I think he's definitely come into his own, and at a good time that he's going to go out there and test that free agent market, because he really does have something to offer to a team in this league.
Looks like Brooks Finley is the latest injured Saskatchewan Roughrider. Look ahead to BC next week, Kep, and Wally Buono yesterday mentioned that game last week to close the regular season. He said it was the closest regular season game to a playoff he'd seen Calgary participate in 5 years. Doug Flutie's in for a real battle next week against the Lions.
It is, and now the big thing is can the BC Lions get healthy enough through the course of this season to come in, through the course of this week, to come in and to give Wally Buono and his Calgary Stampeders a real battle and a real run for their money.
Well, Wally now focusing in on BC next week. The Eastern final, 1:30 Eastern, 3:30 Mountain, or 11:30 Mountain. It'll be Winnipeg against Baltimore unless Ottawa stages a comeback. And it's still 26-16 late in the fourth quarter. And following that game, we'll have Calgary and BC from McMahon Stadium. Geez, move out of Alberta, and I got to reset the clock.
You get that prime time kind of guy you are. You're just running from time zone to time zone, Learjet to Learjet. It's a tough life.
It's a tough day for Tom Burgess. Could not rekindle the magic we saw in '89 and '90. Great Cups in Saskatchewan and Winnipeg.
And even closer than that, couldn't rekindle the magic that they saw in the last 30 minutes of that opening game of the season for them.
2nd and 10 for Steve Taylor. And he goes back to Danielson for the catch. Dale Joseph tossed him out of bounds. That'll be short of a first down.
Chris, this is a big guy. Now, I'm telling you, he's 6'4", about 210 pounds. He moves extremely well. But I'm very, very impressed with the way he catches the ball.
Good insurance policy for the Stampeders. More than that, that's the only downside today for Calgary, losing Dave Sapunjas. But Danielson's done a nice job for them all year, subbing for the injured All-Canadian. In case you joined us late, Dave Sapunjas, we are told, re-injured the collarbone. It's been broken again, and he is out for the rest of the year.
What's really great about when you see young players like that and they're playing behind great players, when you know that the only time that you're going to get a chance to play is either when your team is way ahead or way behind, or God forbid somebody gets hurt. And that's the only time. But you go out there with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of vigor as far as just what you're going to put out there on the field, and when you have an opportunity, you make it work.
There's Dave Sapunjas now looking on in Civi's 3rd down, and Taylor sneaks for the first.
Number 9, Steve Taylor sneaks for the first down.
3 minutes, 45 seconds to play. And the clock running.
First down, Stampeders at the Saskatchewan 52.
Steve Taylor hands it off. Sean Daniels has had a chance to carry the football in this fourth quarter, and he lugs it to the 45.
Glenn Suter, 27, with the tackle.
Going to mark it at the 46, give him a pickup of 6 on the play.
And you have to think now for Calgary that they've got to look ahead, obviously trying to move on to next week. And when you're trying to get through the course of the rest of this game without having an injury, so that everybody is able to show up for the Western Final.
The Eastern semifinal is over in Winnipeg. The Blue Bombers defeating the Ottawa Roughriders, the pesky Roughriders, the final 26-16. Winnipeg moves on to meet Baltimore in the East final next Sunday. Chris?
Second down and 4 here for the Stampeders, and Taylor play action, throwing deep. Pee-wee Smith in the end zone, and the ball falls incomplete. Nice recovery by Terrell Ulmer.
Terrell Ulmer on the defense.
2:43 to play. Kep, we took it to the judges, and they've overruled the word viver does not exist in the dictionary.
That was an 8-point word, too, because I looked at it on the Scrabble. Here, I didn't know I was working with, Mr. Thesaurus.
No, I had to check that one.
Okay, well, I'm glad. It's either vim or vigor, isn't it?
Now, Ulmer is slow to get up. We'd now like to welcome viewers from Manitoba East, Chris Cuthbert, Danny Kepley, Mark Lee, and the CFL on CBC crew at McMahon Stadium. There's the story. Stampeders, after a slow start, just a safety in the first quarter, rolling it up against the Saskatchewan Roughriders and confirming their reservation in the Western Final next week here at McMahon against the BC Lions.
12-3 at half going in, and what this Calgary team does better than I think a lot of any other team in this league does is make adjustments at halftime and come out. This guy right here makes adjustments on the run, and he was able to put all those weapons into use and to use them to the best of his ability to create a situation now where they're looking forward to going home here for the BC Lions.
Oh, there it is. Lions score after that first quarter. They just put it in high gear, and the familiar combination of Flutie to Pitts was an enormous factor here. Alan Pitts with an even dozen catches on the day. Vince Danielson has a touchdown pass. Pitts has a catch for a touchdown. Will Moore as well. And a brilliant 11-7 regular season coaching job by Ray Yock, about to come to an end. But I've mentioned it earlier today, Kep. I think he's a strong candidate, perhaps the strongest, for Coach of the Year in '94 in the CFL.
Well, he said yesterday when we talked to him was the fact that this has just been a great year for him. The thing coming back into it as a head coach, it took him a while to get to know all the personnel and people throughout the course that he's working with. But once he was able to get everybody on the same page with him, they've got a whole team over there that believe in themselves and that responded extremely well to his philosophy.
How about Pitts now? On the season, he now has 138 catches and over 2,200 yards. They just were unable to stop him today. Terrell Ulmer making his way off the field. He'd been shaken up on the play, and injuries took their toll on Saskatchewan today. Racked up defensive secondary. Benson Donaldson went out early, and now Ulmer, but the adjustments they had to make in the secondary just were not able to stop Doug Flutie. Third down, and Tony Martino in. Haven't called his number much since the first quarter. Larry Thompson on the return shakes one tackle, and Thompson drops the football.
Larry Thompson, number 5.
Let's see if he got back on it for Saskatchewan. 2.5 minutes to play. 36-3 Calgary.
And the Riders have recovered.
Blair Zur had an opportunity to strip it away from him, but I think Thompson very fortunate coming up with the ball, making it 1st and 10 for Warren Jones and the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Calgary beat BC both times this year. They had that great regular season ending game last week at the Dome. Earlier this year, back in July, in fact, it was all Calgary, 62-21 here at McMahon Stadium. We mentioned Calgary's averaged 29-point wins here at McMahon this year. They're up by 33 here late in the fourth quarter. As Rick Walters, the Simon Fraser product,
Number 35,
breaks one out off the right side for one of the biggest gains of the second half. 23 yards for Saskatchewan.
23 yards on the carry from Walters.
Now they're already plotting strategy for next week against BC.
You know, so much rivalry made up in the papers concerning who was going to be the MVP coming out of this team, whether it was Doug Flutie or whether it was Alan Pitts, with the kind of record season that Alan Pitts has had. But these guys have unbelievable amount of respect for each other, and all they want to do is just go out there and win.
There's Walters again, picking his way to midfield. As you mentioned off the top of the show, there really only has been one goal since they broke camp this year, and that's to head to the Grey Cup and make up for a loss in the Western Final last year.
Well, there's a lot of teams that have never tasted what it was like to win a Grey Cup, but when Calgary had won it before and then lost to the Western Final last year to the Edmonton Eskimos, once you've tasted it, once your mind's been expanded to it, you know, you have to be able, you're not contented to settle for anything less than that. So as Wally Bono said, if we get there and I'm not hoisting the cup at the end of November, it still will be a disappointment to me.
2nd and 4, and Walters stacked up after a pickup of maybe one. We asked Wally for his reaction to Edmonton losing, because it's been Calgary and Edmonton in the 90s in the Western Final. It's been a great rivalry. Marvin Pope has been at the center of it in so many hard-fought games, but Wally Bono said that he had no less anxiety about playing the BC Lions than had he been playing Edmonton next week.
Good look at AJ, Alondra Johnson out there. Man, if you thought I was happy yesterday and today, wait till tomorrow when Calgary and BC's defense start banging each other around.
Alondra Johnson, former BC linebacker. Here's Warren Jones on 3rd down, and Donald Narcisse has the catch. And it will be a first down for Saskatchewan. 1:15 left in the game.
Donald Narcisse having been kept fairly quiet through the course of this game.
And Greg Knox has been one of the great stars of this one, as he has been all season long. A couple of interceptions and a fumble recovery again today.
His agent, the former safety, Greg Peterson, has got to be happy about his stock value going up.
There's Walters again, and Will Johnson waiting for him.
With the carry back to the line of scrimmage.
You know that you can't see on camera, but that guy beside you over there, that spotter, this guy named Moore. Tell you what, he carried the mail back there in the center field for this Calgary Stampeder defense for a number of years, hasn't he?
There he is.
Yeah, take a look at him over there.
And he wore the nice sweater today because he thought he had a chance.
We caught him in the tracksuit a couple of weeks ago, and he said, today I'm going to be sharp about this and show you what a retired safety looks like.
Yeah, great tradition of safeties here in Calgary. Here's Jones throwing, delivering high, incomplete. Dan Farthing, the intended receiver, and Jones took a lick.
He up front, and the hit on Warren
Will Johnson unloaded on Warren Jones.
What a shot by Will Johnson. He comes in. That's 6'5", 260. Shows you one of the reasons why he led the league in sacks this season. The speed and the tenacity. Once he gets there, he makes you pay.
No letting up, even with the score 36-3. He's going full speed. 3rd down. Jones throwing it back to Narcisse. And he keeps this drive alive with 44 seconds to play. Let's rejoin Mark Lee.
All right, Chris, so these are how the finals will shape up. In the East, Matt Dunnigan will lead the Blue Bombers against Baltimore in the final next Sunday, 1:30 Eastern. And our CBC 94 decision desk has declared that Calgary will win this game and go on and meet BC in the final right here at McMahon Stadium, 4:30 Eastern on Sunday.
And they think this is a conservative kind of... Did you see him step out on the limb there to make that call?
He's been thinking about it most of the 4th quarter. Larry Thompson has the catch. You know, another intriguing part of that BC-Calgary matchup. Two bitter rivals on the field, but Dave Ritchie and Wally Buono, the head coaches, the closest of friends.
What kind of friendship and what kind of mutual respect that they have for one another. And as Coach Buono said yesterday when we spoke to him, you know, he felt extremely bad for Ron Lancaster because he's been there. He knows what it's like. But there was a part in his heart that just really felt unbelievably warm for Coach Ritchie. Now you can see that's Bob Vespasiani on the left, and Frank Spaziani on the right, and Wally Buono on the end, and that's George Cortez, the offensive line coach. What a coaching staff and what a job they've done.
Rick Walters with the carry, and Ray Biggs in now, reserve linebacker with the tackle. 17 seconds left. Kip, what about the competitive spirit? Does Saskatchewan, are they determined to get it in, or are Calgary determined to keep them out here with 17 seconds to play?
Oh, this is the #1 defense in this league. I don't think at the last minute they want to be scored upon. And I think it's crucial. Somewhere, leave this field today with something positive to take right into the beginning of next training camp, and that may be a final touchdown.
Well, last chance, tough snap. Jones throwing, and Narcisse can't hang on. And geez, Greg Knox had a chance at the interception again, but it falls incomplete, and this one's in the books. Wally Buono and the Calgary Stampeders heading back to the Western Final. Doug Flutie's matched up against his old team, the BC Lions. Mark?
Doug, going to the Western Final for the 4th year in a row, the Stampeders are. How do you feel?
It's a great feeling. It's a big win for us. They're a good football team, and we finally got it rolling. So, you know, we needed to win this. This is step one.
It was a bit of a slow start for your offense. After Sapunjas went down, you went to Alan Pitts, and that seemed to open it up.
Yeah, we went to our no-huddle offense and got back into a rhythm, and then we just stayed with it. Early in the game on the first series, I got hit on a long ball that I threw to Will Moore, and I actually had a concussion. I wasn't thinking clearly for most of the first quarter.
Really?
There were some plays that Huff was on the sideline. He called, and I'm like, do we have that in this week? So I was a little out of it for a couple of series, but came around and we had no problems as we went.
All right, you got the BC Lions in the final. You know that'll be a battle.
It will, and they played us tough last week. That was a dogfight that they probably should have won. So we know they're going to be ready to play.
All right, Doug, congratulations.
Thanks a lot. Hi, Larry.
Doug Flutie with 3 touchdown passes this afternoon, leading the Calgary Stampeders to a 36-3 rout of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They go on to the Western Final, and of course in the East it's Winnipeg moving on to the final after defeating the Ottawa Roughriders, the final in Winnipeg, 26-16. Alan Pitts, Doug Flutie's go-to man this afternoon with 183 yards and receptions, helping Calgary to a 36-3 win over Saskatchewan. And in the East, the Bombers prevail on 6 Troy Westwood field goals, 26-16 over the Ottawa Roughriders. So here are the matchups in the East Final. It's Baltimore versus Winnipeg, a rematch of that 57-10 regular season rout by Baltimore 2 weeks ago. And in the West, it's BC against Doug Flutie's Calgary Stampeders. The Lions anxious to take on the team that they lost by only 1 point to last game of the season. And of course, the road to the Grey Cup, Sunday, November 27th at 6 Eastern. Alan Pitts, the man celebrating today as Calgary wins big at home. Thanks for watching, and so long from Calgary.